The Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. Drake Toll with you. The Savannah Bananas organization, Locked On Big 12, and right here on Westwood One Sports. Addie Bates produces, Laura Jimenez runs the board, and Von Miller is a Dallas Cowboy. Are you kidding me? Von Miller is a Dallas Cowboy. 310-840-4910. I know what your first thought is. I know what the exact first thing you think is like, all right, isn't Von Miller really old? And the answer is yes. Von Miller is really old. Isn't Von Miller also a future Hall of Famer who last year in the NFL was top 20 in sacks? Yes. 19th in the National Football League. 9 sacks for a Commanders defense that was hapless in the same division. Von Miller, if the question is, does he have gas in the tank? The answer is yes. And now he is a Dallas Cowboy. The team in the league that we said this offseason needed to bolster its defense. And we've talked about, you've heard the conversation as well. What if Jerry Jones brings in Max Crosby? What if that's your answer? What if a trade with the Raiders for Max Crosby is where the Dallas Cowboys want to go? And they very well still could do that. But now to do this, to bring in Von Miller on the cheap and give the Dallas Cowboys somebody who was a sack away from double digits last year, top 20 in the NFL, 37 years old, but 138.5 career sacks. Did you hear that? 138.5 career sacks. DeSoto High School, that's 28 minutes from Dallas Cowboys Stadium, AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Texas A&M. This is a Texas product. This is a Dallas Cowboy. Von Miller, who last year had 9 sacks for the Commanders, is a Dallas Cowboy. And I would almost argue, given Miller's career statistics, there were more questions 2 or 3 years ago about Von Miller. When he was with Buffalo, he had failed to play more than 13 games since 2021, where he split time with the Rams and the Bills. In 2022, he had injury issues. 23, 24, he was in and out of the rotation. He had compiled 8 sacks in 2022, 0 in a banged-up 2023, 6 of them in Buffalo in 2024. And he thought, all right, you're 3 years into Buffalo, Von Miller, and you have 14 total sacks. That's not great. Then last year was like this revitalization for Von Miller, where 9 sacks is what he picked up in Washington. And now all of a sudden, it brings me the question of the day. It brings me the question I want to give you right now. 310-840-4910. Is Von Miller just the old guy in the corner, or is he an instant impact for the Dallas Cowboys? Because if you ask me, Von Miller is an instant impact for the Dallas Cowboys. And Von Miller bolsters a defense that was 32nd in the National Football League last year. 32nd against the pass, 31st against the rush. The only team worse against the rush was the Jets. You're in the conversation for being either worse than the Jets or the team, just barely the team above the Jets. That's how the Cowboys offense, for one of the best in the NFL, how unbalanced Dallas was last season, and you bring in Von Miller to fix that. All of this reporting came down the pipeline at 9:30 Eastern time last night. I'm resting my sweet little head, and I wake up knowing that the Super Bowl 50 MVP is a Dallas Cowboy. Now, yes, last year was Super Bowl 60. We are 10 years removed from that. But I think Von Miller doesn't just have to make an impact on the Cowboys on the field. He can also do so off the field. Let's talk to Von. The best part of the whole thing is Shannon Sharpe has a podcast. And last night, the first thing Von Miller did after this was announced was join Shannon Sharpe's podcast and say, hey, I am a Dallas Cowboy. This is confirmed. And not only is it confirmed, but it is the dream that Von Miller has had since he was a kid. Von, take it away.
Man, they were the first team to contact me like a week before training camp. I always paid attention to the Dallas Cowboys. And, my earliest memory of playing football included the Dallas Cowboys. I heard my daddy screaming in the back, and I ran back there to see what was going on, and he was screaming because the Dallas Cowboys had scored a touchdown. So that's my earliest memory of playing football, and to be back, here, to be back home is it's a dream within a dream. It's like Inception, the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. And
DiCaprio,
they had like my dream has always been to play in the NFL and, to play for the Dallas Cowboys, a dream within a dream.
He just fulfilled a dream, Von Miller, that is. And can I give you a parallel? Can I give you an exit here for those of you you might be thinking, well, Von Miller's old. Guess who else is old? Guess who had his second workout this week with the LA Rams? Aaron Donald. He's 35. Von Miller is 37. Two different positions, no doubt. And Aaron Donald is one of the best players we've seen in the National Football League in the last decade. And since his retirement in 2023, rumors have swirled that Donald would come back to the league and come back to the league as an LA Ram. And I think he will do that this year. He's 35 years old. Most of the rhetoric around a guy like Aaron Donald, who's also a first ballot Hall of Famer, has not been, wow, man, Aaron Donald's old. And again, position comparison be damned. His last season in the NFL in 2023, he had 8 sacks. Last year, 2025, Von Miller had 9. Aaron Donald had 0. Aaron Donald retired, right? And Von Miller is still in lockstep with the game of football. Has been on the field in the game of football. 310-840-4910. And to add to that, one of the best. So on the one side for Aaron Donald, right? In my comparison game here, on the one side, no one's talking about he's too old. He's too old. No, that's not the rhetoric. Von Miller, who's 2 seasons his senior, if your first response is he's too old, wow, you're not saying that about Aaron Donald. Oh, and also, one of the best parts of Aaron Donald coming back with the Rams is the culture piece, the culture aspect, the idea that Donald knows the Rams and that Donald's a great teammate. And if there has ever been a great teammate in the National Football League, it's Von Miller, the ultimate glue guy, both in his days in Denver, his days in Buffalo, and last year trying to piece together an injury-riddled defense in Washington, and again, still putting together 9 sacks. It's the Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Drake Toll with you. Addie Bates produces. Laura Jimenez runs the board. And Von Miller is a Dallas Cowboy. The phone lines are open. 310-840-4910. Does Von Miller transform the Cowboys defense? So let's go to that question. If that's your, well, he's old. Von responded to that last night and said, if nothing else, I'm a great teammate. If nothing else, I'm going to walk in that locker room. I'm going to walk in there, and I'm going to bring the culture that I know. That everywhere I've walked into in the National Football League, everywhere that I've been, that Von Miller has been a great teammate to those players. That's my goal as Von Miller's. I know how to be a great teammate. But Von, even if it's just as a teammate, both on the field, how much is left in that tank?
They can say what they want to say. I'm worth, 10 to 13 plays a game. I can win 10 to 13 plays a game, and that's with me not even stepping on the football field. Right. It's just the type of knowledge. It's just the type of knowledge of the game that I know, and to be able to get the guys to play around me to a level that they wouldn't normally play at. And that has nothing to do with the type of skill that I can bring on the football field.
So 10 to 13 plays a game as a culture piece is what he feels like he's worth. My question is, okay, you gave me that. Are you worth 10 to 13 plays in the field as a football player? And if the answer is yes, is that enough? Addie Bates, good morning. How was your weekend?
Oh, my goodness. Good morning. How are you?
I'm alive, which is great. I'm alive, and Von Miller's a Cowboy, so both those things are great. If Von Miller is worth 10 to 13 plays on the field, you just said he's worth 10 to 13 off the field. If he's worth 10 to 13 plays on the field, does that revolutionize the Cowboys defense?
Does it revolutionize it? I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't say that is the move that's going to move the needle for me. If this was 10 years ago, if this was 5 years ago, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely it would. Yeah. Is it going to enhance it? Is it going to help it even just a little bit? Yeah, that I will say. Revolutionize, I don't know if I'd go that far.
Maybe the word revolutionize for me is one that's used strategically because the Cowboys are so bad on defense.
Yeah, so I guess, yeah. If you expect disappointment, anything like past that, anything that's above that, yes.
This is me wholly expecting disappointment for the Dallas Cowboys in 2026 based on 2025. And I am that's why I'm here on the word revolutionize, because they're that bad. You added Von Miller and you were terrible. So, okay, again, I kind of want to, can I be more specific with a question?
Mm-hmm.
If any player, I don't care how good or bad, but if any player is going to impact the game for 10 to 13 plays a game, is that alone enough defensively?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Especially whenever you have one of the worst defenses in the league. It really can't get much worse than that. So.
It's true. It's a very good
Put
point.
Drake Toll out there. Put Drake Toll.
Put me at corner. Put me at safety. The Cowboys could use a boost at this point. Again, 310-840-4910. Phone lines are open. And I'll give you this from Von Miller, and then we'll get to your phone calls that are already rolling in here. I'll give you this one, the last beat. And my question for a guy like Von Miller would not be, are you too old? Is this your dream? How much is left in the tank? How many plays are left in the tank? My question would be, why do this? You know, I mean, if you're in the twilight of your career, I know why Aaron Donald wants to go to the Rams. It's to probably win a Super Bowl again and play with Myles Garrett. If you're Von Miller, the only way that I do this, the only way I get off the couch, the only way that I don't retire as a first ballot Hall of Famer is you have to entice me with the idea of winning. The Cowboys didn't do that last year. Von Miller didn't do that as a commander last year. He won 5 games as a commander. My question for Von would be, can the Cowboys compete immediately? And he answered that question with Shannon Sharpe last night.
And I'm going to have opportunities to do it, though. Like, we got one of the best offenses in the National Football League. I'm going to be able to play with the lead, be able to play, up by 10, up by 13, up by 17 points. I'm going to have those opportunities. We only won 5 games last year with the Commanders. You know, we got hit with injuries and a whole lot of stuff, but we only won 5 games, and I was able to walk into 9 sacks. So,
yep. If you're talking about a guy who is willing to play, willing to compete for a team in Washington last year who was out of the postseason picture, who was a Washington team who was a dead duck in the National Football League, and that guy still had 9 sacks for them, is saying that, hey, I played 17 games. I still did it last year, despite being on a team that didn't do anything. I'm going to walk into the Cowboys, and if my offense can give me 10 points, give me 13 points, because they can, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, because they can, then I can do the rest. I can handle it defensively. Let's go to the phone lines, 310-840-4910. Mel in Dallas, good morning. You're on the Drake Toll Show.
Hey, good morning, good morning. Look, I don't know if he's old at 37. What other industry at 37 are you an old guy? I mean, you guys lawyers don't die. Golfers don't quit playing at 37.
That's
Come
good.
on,
That's
this
good.
old crap, this is just some contract mess the leagues come up with to short these guys on the money. One thing about Von Miller, he's a gamer. The most of the people that from that suburb that he's from are from Oak Cliff, my part of town where we learn smash mouth football. We just all moved to the suburbs and took our kids out there for the bigger homes, the better, whatever. But they still learn smash mouth football over there. That team hadn't lost or been bad in I don't know how many decades. So if anything that guy brings to the table is fire under their ass, I'm with it. Because everybody knows the Cowboys is a prima donna team in a prima donna stadium in a prima donna culture. So anything smash mouth, Rydell, hitting hard, banging and swinging, we are with down here. It's about time that Dallas does something right and gets another Kevin Williams or another homebody on that team that's going to have some pride in what they do and that's not there for a check. Because everybody knows when you come here, you don't come here to win championships. You come here for a check, and you go somewhere else to win your championships, and the proof is in the pudding. More guys that have been here that have left here and gone on to win championships in their first or second year from this team, and we're sick of it. I won't buy another beer, pizza, or nothing with Cowboys on it. I'm a fan, not a fanatic. This is Mel, and I'm out. Bye.
Love it, Mel. Mic drop. Was it slanging and banging that he dropped in there? Well,
you don't hear proof in the pudding anymore.
You don't
hear
Rydell. He just dropped the word Rydell. No free ads, but he just said Rydell. That's great. South Oak Cliff High School, the Golden Bears, man. This is a DeSoto guy. South Oak Cliff ties. Von Miller, the Dallas, and I'm with Mel on this. I think Mel's the perfect Dallas Cowboys fan. I think Mel needs more airtime. I think 310-840-4910. I need more Mels in the world because there's so much in Dallas. As somebody who lived in Waco, 90 minutes away for 5 years, there's so much in Dallas, this pompous nature of just, it's the Cowboys, we're going to win, this is the year. Guys like Mel are the guys that I love being around as Cowboys fans of, hey, I'll watch, I'll support, but I'm not going to buy all the way into it to the point of delusion. And Von Miller is and has been as level-headed a guy in the National Football League as a leader with the Broncos, as a leader with the Bills, as a guy who's confident he can affect the game for double-digit plays, even if he's not on the field. That is what the Cowboys, that's the mentality. That's what the Cowboys need. Not the glitz and the glam and Jerry flying in on a helicopter. The Cowboys need the grit, the Rydell of Von Miller. Oh, thank you, Mel. That made my day. 310-840-4910. 310-840-4910. The phone line, the text line is open. Von Miller is a Dallas Cowboy. The first ballot Hall of Famer, Von Miller, is a Dallas Cowboy. You know what? You know what I think? You know what I'm glad that Von Miller last night signed a one-year deal at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time with the Cowboys? Because otherwise, I would have told you the story. I would have opened this show and telling you the saddest thing that's happening in the National Football League right now. The saddest city in the United States of America just took another major hit, and it starts with their NFL franchise. Let's do it next. It's Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Again, 310-840-4910. You can call or text. This is the Drake Toll Show.
Watch out.
Trucking, got my chips cashed in. Keep trucking, like the Doodah Man. Together, more or less in line. Just keep trucking on.
Arrows of neon and flashing marquees out on Main Street. Chicago, New York, Detroit, and it's all on the same street. A typical city involved in a typical daydream. Hang it up and see what tomorrow brings.
Dallas, got a soft machine. Houston, too close to New Orleans. New York, got the ways and means and just won't let you be.
Most of the cats that you meet on the street speak of true love. Most of the time they're sitting and crying at home. One of these days they know they gotta get going. Out of the door and down to the street all alone.
Trucking like the Doodah Man once told me, you got to pay your hand. Sometimes the cards ain't worth a dime if you don't lay 'em down. Sometimes the light's all shining on me. Other times I can barely see. Lately it occurs to me, what a long, strange trip it's been.
What in the world ever became of Sweet Jane? She lost her sparkle, you know she isn't the same. Living on Reds, vitamin C, and cocaine. All a friend can say is ain't it a shame?
Trucking up the Buffalo, been thinking you got to mellow slow. It takes time to pick a place to go and just keep trucking on.
Sitting and staring out of the hotel window. Got a tip they're gonna kick the door in again. I'd like to get some sleep before I travel, but if you got a warrant, I guess you're gonna come in.
Busted down on Bourbon Street, set up like a bowling pin knocked down. It gets to wearing thin, it just won't let you be.
You're sick of hanging around and you like to travel. Get tired of traveling, you want to settle down. I guess I can't revoke your soul for trying. Get out of the door, light out and look all around.
Sometimes the light's all shining on me. Other times I can barely see. Lately it occurs to me. What a long, strange trip it's been. Trucking, I'm going home. Whoa, whoa, baby, back where I belong. Back home, sit down and patch my bones and get back trucking. Home, 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 home.
Thank you, President Trump. The Islamic Republic of Japan.
That ball had a family, a wife, 4 kids, living in the suburbs.
And I was taking shots from the front and the back. Did anybody wonder what was going to happen? What if Cleveland doesn't rock? I'd always been told as a kid, Cleveland rocks. What if Cleveland doesn't rock? Because I sat down last night. I had a conversation with Josh Graham of Westwood One Sports fame. And I said, Josh, I just don't. We've been talking for weeks about Deshaun Watson versus Shedeur Sanders, and it's nothing. It is incredibly frustrating. And I know there's almost a Dallas tie-in here, by the way, with Shedeur Sanders, the Dallas kid. And it's so infuriating, the Browns quarterback competition, because if we boil the whole thing down, Deshaun Watson versus Shedeur Sanders, let's all agree on this one thing. They are both ass, right? We know that. We know that neither of them are good quarterbacks. They're locked into a battle in Cleveland. And the more him and I have, this is 8:30, and he called me and was like, hey, it's Josh. Yeah, Josh, I have caller ID. He's like, what are you going to talk about tomorrow? It's like, Josh, I think we're going to open the show. We're going to talk a lot about Deshaun Watson versus Shedeur Sanders. And so him and I are going into this. We're taking the avenues of, all right, well, it's hapless because neither of these guys are good. And this weekend in preseason, neither of them looked spectacular. Watson outplayed Shedeur Sanders, 11 for 15, 126 yards. He was sacked, did fumble the ball, scrambled 3 times, got 4 yards out of that. Come on. Yeah. Shedeur Sanders, compared to Deshaun Watson's 126 yards, had 79 yards, 20% lower completion percentage. No touchdowns, none for either of them, and an interception for Shedeur. So fumble for Deshaun Watson, an interception for Shedeur. Yes. And don't forget Dylan Gabriel, who's somewhere in the mix here. And what I want you to know of Cleveland, Ohio, and of the Browns is that no matter who the quarterback is for the Cleveland Browns, after what I watched against the Bears this weekend, who I do think are going to be very good, I think the Bears are going to be better than we expect, and we have decent expectations for the Chicago Bears in the NFC North. I think the Cleveland Browns, no matter who wins this quarterback competition, will be bad, which then the thesis would be, at that point, you might as well just start the kid, right? To me, if you know you're going to be bad, if you know that Cleveland is not going to compete this year with Todd Monken as your head coach. Do you remember when Todd Monken was in Baltimore? When Todd Monken was calling plays in Baltimore under John Harbaugh, and the fan base is screaming for Monken to be fired. There was unrest in the front office over Monken. Maybe if we let that guy go, Harbaugh can keep his job in Baltimore, and he can keep running with Lamar Jackson and try to win a Super Bowl. And you know what happened? Harbaugh got fired by Baltimore. John Harbaugh got fired, and one of the reasons he got fired is because he wanted to hang on to Todd Monken. So the Browns said, oh, wow, that guy's bad enough that your head coach might get fired because of that guy? Huh. We should hire him as our head coach. And they did. Here's why you hire a head coach like that. You hire a head coach like that, and you trade away Myles Garrett, the face of the franchise, the face of the city, so that you can rebuild, so that you can stink. The guise of a quarterback competition between Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders it drums up controversy, it drums up conversation, but does it make you a competitive National Football League franchise? No. Does it make you win this year? No. The Browns need to lose. Why? Top three pick. They're finally back in the realm of having draft picks after they gave away 5 of them for Deshaun Watson. You're the Browns. You should never give up draft picks. If you're the Rams, you can do it. You're competing, you're winning. They're the 29th or 32nd pick every year. You're the Browns. Don't give up draft picks. It's the saddest franchise ever. 310-840-4910. It's the Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Which got us to thinking in this conversation. What if it's not just the saddest franchise in the National Football League, but at this point, Cleveland's just the saddest sports city in the world? Let me back you up. 6 months ago, Addy, the Guardians were in the playoffs last season. There was something around Cleveland going into 2026 of, hey, we did it last year. We were a couple pitches away from the divisional round. We can do it again this year. The Cleveland Cavaliers. LeBron James is going to be a Cav. He's golfing with the guys. He wants to play with Donovan Mitchell. He wants to come back home. There is a world where this season, the Guardians are in the playoffs. The Cavs have LeBron. As of today, the Guardians would be in the playoff picture. LeBron James is a Cavalier, and Myles Garrett is playing for the Cleveland Browns. Instead, everything the city could have been excited for on August 17th of 2026 is dead. And I think it may start. It even goes to baseball here.
It's kind of funny because the Guardians after the All-Star game, after the All-Star break in that division had the worst fall off, by the way, the worst skid statistically. Yeah. The Cavs did not get LeBron back. And then we were all excited. Oh, let's see what the Browns are going to look like versus the Bears. And with that one guy at quarterback, Deshaun Watson, who probably shouldn't be there. And it was a complete disaster. Todd Monken, by the way, for the first drive, didn't even let him throw the ball. And I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, I'm think I'm out on Todd Monken too. My initial reaction to Deshaun Watson was, that was bad, but still not as bad as I expected it to be. He made a couple throws that were, short. And I thought that Todd Monken, to your point, did not set up Watson to show me anything, to prove anything. And maybe that's what preseason's for. Maybe there's an overreaction here. I just don't think, based on the context we have the last season, that Shedeur Sanders or Deshaun Watson are good. I also looking at Shedeur, who threw an interception. You're spot on Todd Monken. And while I don't think the play calling was creative, it doesn't need to be in preseason, it didn't show me that Deshaun Watson was ready to be a starting quarterback in the National Football League again. And I don't know that how would Todd Monken be able to, based on how he coddled Deshaun Watson, how would he be able to see that Watson is a starting quarterback? Let's go to Todd Monken, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, on what he was even doing with Deshaun Watson.
Was how comfortable he was leading up to the game, how comfortable he was in the huddle. Certainly there were things from a operational standpoint we can do better, but I wanted to see if he was enjoying himself. Was this still fun for him to play through the ups and the downs? I'm sure he's not happy about certain throws that he could have made, a couple of them, that would have extended drills. Sure he's thrilled about a quarterback sneak that we threw on him there to get a first down. But it was fun watching him play. It was fun. So he answered.
Do you know how devastating it has to be if you are a fan of a football team and the head coach is not saying, I needed to see if his legs were. Usually, if I'm a head coach, I want to see, hey, can he still run? What's his mobility like? That arm, how much power do we have? No. Todd Monken just stepped to the podium, and when reporters said, what did you need to see from your possible starting quarterback? He's not Mike Rowe. He's not doing dirty jobs right now. He's a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's fighting for that position. What do you need to see from him? And the coach's response is, I needed to see if he's still having fun. I needed to see if he's happy. I needed to see if he can deal with the ebbs and the flows, the ups and the downs of the National Football League. He's 30 years old. Over 24 women had brought allegations of sexual assault against this guy that he was exonerated of. And since then, you've seen nothing from Deshaun Watson. This had nothing to do with what do you need to see. It should have been something on the field or related to the game of football. No, it was, is he having fun? That's your response? Here's what's worse, is if that's your option one, Deshaun Watson, your option two is Shedeur Sanders. And Shedeur, yeah, he's rolling right. Pockets closing. He's got to find some space. Oh, man wide open, 17 yards downfield. The only defenders are 8 yards behind him, and so you just fire it in there, big boy. And oh my goodness, if he doesn't throw it 10 feet over the intended target's head into the hands of a Bears defender for his interception on Saturday, and then Shedeur Sanders, your first guy you want to see have fun out there, starting quarterback in the National Football League. Your second guy, Shedeur Sanders, throws an interception and then says this wild thing about the interception.
What I see, the right read just slipped, you know. It's the right read, it just slipped. So that's what makes me be mad a little bit because of it. But you know, I don't, any decision I make, I know it's the right decision. I just didn't execute the decision, but the right decision was made.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, Shedeur, the guy is wide open. I don't need you to tell me about how you made the right decision. It's baffling to me that you want me to watch you throw an interception, a grotesque interception. And then instead of pointing at yourself and being like, yeah, but you somehow want to spin this answer into, I made the right decision. He's standing there wide open. Of course you made the right decision. And yes, the execution was terrible. It slipped. Can I ask you, if you're, again, if I'm a fan of the Cleveland Browns, I want a franchise quarterback. That's what I want. I want a quarterback who goes to the podium and takes responsibility and accountability. I want a franchise quarterback. Think about the franchise quarterbacks of the National Football League right now. The Josh Allens, the Justin Herberts, the Patrick Mahomes. How many of those guys have come to a podium and said, it just slipped? I don't know. I mean, you know, credit to me because I made the right read. Credit to me for finding the guy. Credit to me for, you know, seeing where he was. It slipped. Between baseball, football, basketball. I just feel sorry for Cleveland at this point. I just feel sorry for Cleveland. You know, I don't feel sorry for the Chicago Bears. Antoine Randall L. is on staff with the Bears now. And he won't be next year. He will not be in Chicago next season because Antoine Randall L. will be a head coach in the National Football League. 47 years old. And was given play caller responsibilities for the second half of Chicago's preseason game on Saturday. And Ben Johnson, the head coach, he's the wide receivers coach, Antoine Randall L., said, hey, you know, I'm good. I'm going to go sit, have some coffee. You want to call the plays? Sure. Chicago would go on to score 24 points and put up 235 yards of offense. I think he's got a chance to be an OC in the league. I think he's got a chance to be a head coach in the league, Ben Johnson said. And I agree in full. I've told you, I am an overthinker, an overbeliever in preseason. Football comes back, and I immediately think, well, Bears going to win the Super Bowl. I have to remind myself this was against the Browns and that they are still the Browns. But Ben Johnson, we'll take you right there, the head coach of the Chicago Bears, seems very confident in Antoine Randall L., who's still on the staff at least for this season?
In terms of offensive execution, and it looked better in the second half. That's really because of Antoine Randall L. calling it there in the second half. I thought he did a phenomenal job, with Case taking the reins and then transition on over to Miller just to see how he was trying to stay in their wheelhouse. He was part of the quarterback meeting last night, and we were talking about what was on the call sheet and their favorites and all that. And I think it was a phenomenal experience for him, and I know our guys really rallied around that as well. I wanted L to get that chance, and he wanted it too. I mean, I think he's an outstanding coach, and I think sometimes when you're put in certain position rooms, you kind of get labeled one thing or another. And here's the thing about L. I think he's got a chance to be an offensive coordinator in this league. I think he's got a chance to be a head coach in this league. I think he would do a phenomenal job in both those respects. And I don't know if he gets that type of credit around the league right now. So it's a good opportunity for him to get some recognition.
That's awesome. I love the head coach building up the wide receivers coach like that. The head coach building up a guy who saying, hey, I should lose him on this staff. He should be an OC. He should be a head coach somewhere. I love that. I love that culture from Ben Johnson. The same Ben Johnson who caught controversy and flack last year when he said, I hate the Green Bay Packers. We hate the Packers. Oh, he's taking it too far. He's drumming this thing up and it needs to be professional. I love what Ben Johnson just gave you. And that is the mark of a culture coach. It is the Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Phone line, text line still open. 310-840-4910. May I introduce you to the dumbest quarterback alive? That's up next. It's Westwood One Sports, Westwood One Sports app. This is the Drake Toll Show.
It's getting to the point where I'm no fun anymore. I am sorry. Sometimes it hurts so badly I must cry out loud. I am lonely. I am yours. You are mine. You are what you are. You make it hard. Remember what we've said and done and felt about each other. Oh, babe, have mercy. Don't let the past remind us of what we are not now. I am not dreaming. I am yours. You are mine. You are what you are. You make it hard. Tearing yourself away from me now. You are free. And I am crying. This does not mean I don't love you. I do. That's forever. Yes, and for always. I am yours. You are mine. You are what you are. You make it hard. Something inside is telling me that I've got your secret. Are you still listening? Here is the lock and laughter, the key to your heart. And I love you. I am yours. You are mine. You are what you are. You make it hard. And you make it hard. And you make it hard. And you make it hard. got to lose? Can I tell it like it is? Listen to me, baby. It's my heart that's a suffer, it's a die, and that's what I have to lose. I've got an answer. I'm going to fly away. What have I got to lose? Will you come see me Thursdays and Saturdays? Hey, hey, hey. What have you got to lose?
The cumulative IQ of the New York Giants football team might equate to less than an ACT score. That only goes to 36, by the way. Between Cam Scatterboo, who's doing backflips and doing backflips on a broken leg, but he won't hurt himself.
I will not hurt myself.
To the quarterback Jackson Dart, who this weekend was planted like a flag. I mean, as hard a hit as a quarterback can take, Jackson Dart did in the preseason. Which, by the way, again, it's the preseason, so we're being kind, we're being nice, but also fighting for positions on a football field. And here comes Jay Ward around the left side for the Vikings against the New York Giants, and flies through almost untouched and blows up Jackson Dart. Take a listen.
Technique so you don't get pushback.
Adams threatened blitz. Oh! Jackson Dart is smacked. Holy cow, Jay Ward.
This is one of those hits that Tua Tagovailoa takes, and you're like, oh no, there are the hands. He's doing the hands. Jackson Dart, in lieu of doing the hands, laid on the ground for 22 seconds. Didn't move. Just there. Like, oh no. In preseason, they ruined Jackson Dart. So what happens when a quarterback gets hit by an edge who's going 22 miles an hour, flies straight into his chest, and plants him in the ground? You say, hey, your head probably hurts. Let's take you into the blue tent. And the blue tent isn't scary. It can't eat you, can't harm you. The blue tent is the thing that they take you into to say, okay, follow my finger. Here's a light. Let's see if your eyes are dilated. How many fingers am I holding up right now? The blue tent is for concussion protocol. And you know who I think, you know what? Let's just, again, the IQ of this football team. Let's just hear from Jackson Dart on how frustrated he is to go into the blue tent again.
I really respect the rules and the thought behind, NFL has of keeping players healthy and reviewing things, but at the same time, I'm still puzzled by it just feeling like every time that I get hit, I just find my way in there, which at times I still try to wrap my head around, but that's all that I'm going to say about that situation. I'm really happy with how the drive ended.
I love when a guy who goes into a concussion protocol uses the terminology, I'm puzzled. You would be puzzled. You would be puzzled, wouldn't you? After the 23rd hit like that you've taken in the NFL, I'd be puzzled too. I'd be a little confused. He's also talking so slow. Spit it out, man. Spit it out. I am confused. Yes, Jackson, you're proving every reason that we wanted to send you into the blue tent after you got slammed into the turf this weekend. I don't get it. Why have to go in tent when get hit? Why is he upset? We're just trying to protect him, and his offensive. We're trying to do what his offensive line can't, and protect Jackson Dart from the concussion monster. The blue tent can't hurt you. Only the defense can. He did go on to finish 3 for 4, 26 yards, the touchdown after the sack. But he was sacked twice. After this, he's sacked twice.
Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen.
Even John Harbaugh said he had no reservations, guys. I'm glad we put him back in after the big hit. He had no concussion. I think that we should put Jackson Dart in the blue tent after every play. And you know what? We should put Cam Scatterbo in there too. Cam's like, what, guys? We're on defense. Just put him in there. Put Cam Scatterbo in the blue tent. Check him out. Somebody give him the Wonder Lick. Somebody make him take the SAT. Just see what we got going on brain cell-wise in the for the New York Giants. It is the Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Addie Bates produces. Laura Jimenez runs the board. Put me in the blue tent. And that is the perfect segue. Thank you, Jackson Dart. Thank you, Jackson Dart. To our biggest losers of the day. Biggest loser of the day, number 1, Jackson Dart, obviously. Give you our biggest loser of the day, number 2, though. The Bills built a new state-of-the-art stadium that looks just like every other stadium. And Bills fans are going nuclear because they've gotten their first look at it, their first chance during preseason games to go in and sit down. And the problem with the stadium is there are a lot of seats where you just can't see anything, or you're watching the game through glass. Here are irate Bills fans.
It was, no, like that, how could that possibly be something that would be in our face during the game? And now here we are, and I'm watching through the glass like I'm at the neighbor's house. It's very weird. And then, as my father said, there's people constantly walking in front of us. It's just horribly designed. It's extremely annoying.
The glass itself, it's great. It's no issues there. It's, as you can see, the 1,000 people that come up and down and don't know how to read the signs and come up and stop and, we're in the wrong section. And it's all the people in the way, not the glass. The view it showed me was obviously facing this direction. Didn't show this. And if I was a season ticket holder, I would not be happy.
So 3 things to hold on to here. The first one is one guy hates the glass. The other guy's okay with the glass. He hates that people are walking in front of him all the time. So the first bad problem, the glass. The second bad problem, the foot traffic. The third bad problem is season ticket holders are paying for this and getting view from your seat looks. Like you can go to those ticket apps and see view from your seat. They're getting the view from their seat, and you know what they see? Wow, nice. They can see the whole field. And they show up, there's a pane of glass in their face. Addie, if I'm a season ticket holder and I paid thousands of dollars to watch the Bills every weekend, and you put a pane of glass in front of me, I'm going to be, como se dice, not happy.
Good Spanish there, Drake. Yeah, that's just so funny to me. I feel like in the era where we can, there's architects, designers. You think we would have talked to at least one of them? One of them had to have been a football fan, right? One would have been hey guys, this is not a good idea.
Hold on. Frank Lloyd Wright. Nope, dead. No, Frank Lloyd Wright is dead. Frank Lloyd Wright. Ancestor? Does he have kids? Maybe one of those is still around. He had 7. Yeah, Frank Lloyd Wright had 7 kids. Wow. So hopefully maybe one of them can get involved here. The stadium design for the Bills. Devastating. Biggest loser of the day. You get that. It is the Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports. The Westwood One Sports app. Taking you through our biggest losers of the day. Mike McDonald can be included in that for just not being a father to his son. Here's what's about to happen once the NFL season kicks off for Mike McDonald.
I actually think I'm here less, which is, I wish some of our coaches took that as well, but on Thursdays, I don't get to see Jack throughout the week as much, so Thursdays I try to get, which is today, I try to get home pretty quick to be with him for maybe a half hour before he goes to bed. and then I got a setup at my house where I can go and then I work on the game plan. But it's able to spend some more time at home and be with Jack, and also it kind of lets you kind of get away from everything and kind of see things from a different perspective, and it keeps you fresh, So it's been helpful.
Addie, McDonald would go on to say, this is all in reference to, he sees his son for a total of half hour on Thursdays, and that's it during the week of the football season.
Jack, and then 10 years from now, why doesn't my son talk to me? Why doesn't my son talk to me? Why doesn't my son like me? Guys, you can be successful and still make time for your family. There is a balance there, guys. There is a balance there.
I don't know.
Together then, no, we'll have a good time then. Mike McDonald's going to be 79 years old. Call his son. His son's going to hang up on him because he's running a football practice. My son was just like me.
I don't even think Harry Chapin made it to 79.
Harry Chapin, man.
Died in a car accident.
Really? Mm-hmm. Gosh. Hayden Panettiere. We'll get to that during the obituaries. Ugh, devastating. It's the Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. Your biggest losers of the day. You better hide. You better watch out. If you're a Beaver in Detroit, because somebody's about to eat you. Take a listen.
That is if you can provide yourself with food, and again, they're ice fishing because everything is frozen, and you're looking for fat in the beaver.
Yeah,
the beaver is the beaver is the most sought after.
It is.
Ryan, do you think you could eat beaver?
I will literally eat anything.
So, of course, beaver, if you Urban Dictionary it, is an innuendo for...
We're not encouraging that, kids. Do not look that up.
Do not do it. Do not. Beaver is code word for things. The greatest name in human history. When I worked around the Big 12, when I was in college at Baylor, the Big 12 had just hired a new intern. Their first intern in 2021 was DJ Ramirez. Normal name, DJ Ramirez. Yeah. Their intern in 2022, kid you not, real name, Unique Beaver.
What?
The first email that I got from Unique Beaver as a 21-year-old college kid, I'm sprinting through the house. No! I couldn't believe. I thought the Big 12 conference had been hacked, and Addie knows what this is like. It's one of those where you sign up for like a conference's email list, and they send you 9 emails a day. The Iowa State equestrian team, and it just, from Unique Beaver, Iowa State wins championship. And the Beaver alerted me every day. I had a good chat with Beaver every day.
Would you eat beaver? Would you eat beaver? You were in Detroit?
In Arkansas, we had you'd eat pheasant, you'd eat duck, you'd eat raccoon, you'd eat squirrel.
I will literally eat anything.
We wouldn't eat that part of the raccoon. We wouldn't eat the appendage of the raccoon. We'd just eat the raccoon. Addie Bates produces. Laura Jimenez runs the board. Those are your biggest losers of the day. When we return on the Drake Toll Show. Oh, gross. This Major League Baseball player has the worst injury I've ever seen. This is the Drake Toll Show.
This
There's a blood that's flowing through the feeling, with a knife to open up the sky's veins. Some things will never change. They stand there looking backwards, half unconscious from the pain. They may seem rearranged in the backwater swirling. There's something that'll never change. And when I should have been done a long time, last we're sheltered under paper, the rockets come at us sideways. Something will never change. They stand there looking backwards, half unconscious from the pain. They may seem rearranged in the backwater swirling. There's something that'll never change. And hey, I'm fine, good, fine, roll from time on who's done. And when I wake up in the morning to feel the daybreak on my face, there's a blood that's flowing through the ceiling with a knife to open up the sky's veins. Some things will never change. They just stand there looking backwards, half unconscious from the pain. They may seem rearranged in the backwater swirling. There is something that'll never change. Some things will never change. They stand there looking backwards, half unconscious from the pain. They may seem rearranged in the backwater swirling. There is something that'll never change. And when I wake up in the morning to feel the daybreak on my face, there's a blood that's flowing through the feeling with a knife to open up the sky's veins. Some things will never change. They stand there looking backwards, half unconscious from the pain. They may seem rearranged in the backwater swirling. There's something that'll never change. And when I should have been done a long time, it laughs and says I find ways. Just when we're sheltered under paper, the rockets come at us sideways. Something will never change. They stand there looking backwards, half unconscious from the pain. They may seem rearranged in the backwater swirling. There's something that'll never change.
The worst injury that one could ever have. That is exactly what took Nolan Arenado by storm this weekend. The Arizona Diamondbacks tweet, Nolan Arenado was removed from today's game with left trunk discomfort. Personally, I've never hurt my own left trunk, but I can only imagine. It's probably not a good thing. It is the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, and that is the segue into today's obituaries. Let's talk a little baseball and keep it there. First, Nolan Arenado's trunk issues. Addie, this could be life-threatening.
Do we know what happened to his trunk? Do we know how the injury was sustained?
How is trunk?
How is trunk? Was it like a Shadur Sanders thing? It slipped?
What is trunk? Arguably, where is trunk?
Who is trunk?
I've got a lot of questions about the official team account tweeting that he's got some trunk issues here.
Not only that, it's left trunk.
Correct. I was unaware the human body could have two trunks, but we do. Or at least maybe it's exclusive to Nolan Arenado. Maybe it's something that I didn't know. It's like only he has two trunks.
Craig, but me needing to tell you that, you should probably see a doctor.
Yeah. Well, luckily Nolan Arenado is actively seeing a doctor. We'll keep you updated on if he's okay to play the rest of the year for the Arizona Diamondbacks after his trunk issues. Also dead today. Anybody else who wants to make a Major League Baseball debut? It's over. Don't. Just go ahead and skip over that. Just go ahead and don't do that. Just go ahead and just retire, hang it up. Because you cannot touch the jock strap. You can't grace the jock strap. The beaver of Joshua Baez, who just made the greatest debut in baseball history. Baez hit 3 home runs in his first 3 plate appearances as a Major League Baseball player. Here's the sound from the Cardinals radio this weekend.
1-0 the count on Joshua Baez. Burleson leads at first base. The pitch. A swing, and there's a drive, and that's hit well to right field. That's deep to right. That ball is gone. That ball is gone. Unbelievable. 3 at-bats in the big leagues. 3 home runs for Joshua Baez. A 3-run lead for the Cardinals.
Are you kidding me, man? The same Joshua Baez who in AAA in Memphis this year played 103 games, got the call up. He had 34 home runs in his 103 games. And those 34 home runs came in 461 plate appearances. About 3 home runs in 3 plate appearances. I've never seen anything like this. Is almost, when I think like great rookies, I think Jeff Francoeur. Remember Jeff Francoeur's first month in Major League Baseball was this historic, like Frenchie's going to be a Hall of Famer, which, sorry, Jeff. I think he was traded to everyone in that same division, by the way, over the course of his career. Like Mets, Braves, he played everywhere over the course of his career. This 3 for 3 home runs is one of the coolest things. I'm gonna do this. It's one of the coolest things I've seen in sports.
I spoke with, so that was Cardinals radio play-by-play. That was John Rooney. And then their TV play-by-play is Chip Carey. And they both said that it was one of the craziest things they've ever seen, and they've never seen anything like it. By the way, if you heard that crowd noise, yeah, that's at Wrigley. By the way, known kind of like rival, known enemy of the Cardinals. And that's the crowd noise. They were that excited. When your rival is making that sort of noise, you know you did something special. And Cardinals fans, oh my gosh, I don't know if we'll ever see that again. We've seen, debuts out there, 10 strikeouts, 15 strikeouts. We've seen that kind of stuff. 3 home runs for Joshua Baez, who has had his ups and downs in the minors and finally gets called up. They wanted to make sure it was the right time, and boy, was it.
Jeff Francoeur, by the way, to give you more context there, who played for the Braves, his debut hit a 3-run home run against the Chicago Cubs. So I guess if you're going to debut in Major League Baseball, you might as well do it against the Cubs. 3-run home run was his very first hit in Major League Baseball and had a batting average above 400 for his first month in the league. Just immediately took it by storm and then said, you know what, guys? Just kidding. I'm not that good. And now he's one of the great baseball voices, baseball minds in a broadcast booth, calling games for the Atlanta Braves and working nationally. Shout out Jeff Francoeur, the Atlanta Braves legend. Dead today in our obituaries. Oh, Kyle Tucker. Dead today just is our obituaries. Kyle Tucker on the Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Drake Toll alongside Addie Bates. Kyle Tucker, since the pitcher's mound was lowered in 1969, the only MLB hitter to have an 85-game home span with an average below 182, OBP below 288, and a slugging below 266 in 340 plate appearances is Kyle Tucker. He's the only player to go this kind of stretch, to have this kind of year with this kind of terrible home production that's for codified baseball. Kyle Tucker, the LA Dodger, who is another major offseason acquisition. Oh, the Dodgers are going to be so good building a super team. They got Kyle Tucker, who's the 50th best player in baseball. He's kind of ass right now.
You know, if you wanted someone who can't play at home, like, you don't even have to pay me $60 million. I'll do it for $1 million. I'll do it for $500,000. That's what I would do. Dodgers fans are booing Kyle Tucker now. Obviously, he raked with the Houston Astros, kind of struggled with the Cubs a little bit, but now he's bad.
$500,000. How much is deferred though? How much comes after?
Well, I am with child Sinatra now, so I need the money now. I do need the money. We can't defer that.
To give content and context to the listener, Addie has a cat named Sinatra.
Yeah, I thought I made that clear.
For anybody's like, Addie's a mom now? Well, to an extent of the cat. Dead today, Tommy John. Pour one out. Shoot. What do we name the surgery now? Do we have to... We got to pivot off that? I don't really know how we...
Well, the second guy who got it, Brent Strom, is still alive.
Okay, it's Brent Strom. Imagine calling it Brent Strom. Yeah, he had to get... That's what it is, though. It's just someone's name. He had to get Brent Strom. That's how weird saying Tommy John is. He had to get Tommy John.
Yeah.
And none of us consider... But he had to get Brent Strom. You're like, what? No. Tommy John dead at 83 this Saturday. A legend of the game. A legend of the surgery of the game. Amen. Dead today. Hayden Panettiere. I couldn't believe it. This morning, it was maybe 28 minutes ago. I'm opening Twitter, and Hayden Panettiere is dead. She was a child actress. She's 36 now. I should have led with that. She's not a child actress who's died. She's an adult actress who died, but started out career as a child actress. She was in Nashville, the TV show. Golden Globe nomination for playing in Nashville. Died in Greenville, South Carolina. Weird aside, but I actually really like the city of Greenville, South Carolina. It's a great place. I wouldn't want to die there. I don't recommend that.
What the?
But rest in peace, Hayden Panettiere. They haven't said how she died. She was in Heroes. She was in Scream when they did the TV show Scream. Nashville. Again, Golden Globe. Soap opera. 36 years old. Addie, anything you want to add there?
Remember the Titans?
Wow, that's right. That's right. She was.
Yeah.
I forget that. She wasn't Remember the Titans. Final obituary today. The Dallas Cowboys having a bad defense. It's over. They're alive. They're revived. Von Miller signs a 1-year deal with the Dallas Cowboys. And your first thought is, Von Miller? Isn't he really old? No. No. He's not. He's only 37, which isn't that old in the context of in the grand scheme of the world. And he had 9 sacks last season as a member of the Washington Commanders. I'll take that any day of the week. The Dallas Cowboys are arguably the worst defense in the NFL. They're terrible. I would take Von Miller in a heartbeat. And now, he's a member of the boys. Guy who grew up 30 minutes away from the stadium. Guy who was productive last year. And guy who said it's a dream. Take a listen to Von Miller last night on Shannon Sharp's podcast. A dream to be a Cowboy.
Man, so they were the first team to contact me like a week before training camp. You know, I always paid attention to the Dallas Cowboys. And, you know, my earliest memory of playing football included the Dallas Cowboys. I heard my daddy screaming in the back, and I ran back there to see what was going on, and he was screaming because the Dallas Cowboys had scored a touchdown. So that's my earliest memory of playing football, and to be back, you know, here, to be back home is it's a dream within a dream. It's like Inception, you know, the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. My dream has always been to play in the NFL, and, you know, to play for the Dallas Cowboys is a dream within a dream.
Look, that's something that anybody who watches football can reckon with. You think about your franchise. Who's your team? You're a Bears fan. You're a Vikings fan. You're a Tampa Bay Bucks fan. You love the Cowboys, and you love the Niners. Just pick your team. You grew up watching them with your dad. And then every kid has that moment where they're like, I'm going to play in the NFL when you're 4 or 5 years old. And then you hit the age of like 13. You're like, I'm not going to play in the NFL. But you have the dream of playing in the National Football League, and you dream of doing it with the 49ers, who you watched on the couch with your dad. You dream of doing it with the Chargers, who you watched in San Diego on the couch with your dad. Von Miller dreamed on the couch with his dad to play for the team 30 minutes away. And now at 37 years old, in what might be his final year of production for a guy who's got 138 career sacks, who's a Hall of Famer, he gets to play for the Dallas Cowboys. He'll be an impact guy. He'll be an impact guy for the Cowboys, and they will utilize him on defense, mostly because they would probably utilize Addie's cat if it came down to it. They'd sign Sinatra to go out there and play. They need some sort of help. Those are the obituaries for today. Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. It is the Drake Toll Show. Drake Toll with you from the Savannah Bananas organization, locked on Big 12 and right here on Westwood One Sports. Addie Bates produces. Laura Jimenez runs the board. Addie, time for the quickie. Top 5 headlines in all of sports. Addie Bates reads them. Drake Toll has a minute to respond to each.
Whenever I was 4 years old watching football with my dad, I said I wanted to play football. And you're right. It wasn't until I was 13 that I realized I'm not doing that.
Well, you know, the NFL has become more. No, you're right. That's probably it. Sarah Fuller, she got close.
Yeah. All right, here's your first headline of the day. Ooh, Cardinals running back
Did you throw up a little bit?
I mean, I did after seeing this. Yeah, Cardinals running back Love likely to sit rest of preseason.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll be back for the start of the regular season because he has a high ankle sprain. And in the world of sports, it's so funky how injuries like this work. Let me give you a little comment. Let me back up for what that means. Is if a guy breaks his arm, breaks his leg, even tears an ACL at this point, we've seen plenty of guys work back from that. Like, oh, yeah, cool. He broke his leg. He's going to be fine. Cam Scotty was doing backflips. Something about the high ankle sprain for a running back can be career-altering, devastating. It's that random injury that shouldn't be that bad where you're like, yep, he had a high ankle sprain 9 years ago and it's never been the same. Not saying that's the extent of Jeremiah Love's injury, but we don't know and won't know whether or not Jeremiah Love can come back at 100% or how soon he can come back at 100% in 2026. The high ankle sprain for a running back, never good. And that is the case for Jeremiah Love, the rookie phenom for the Arizona Cardinals, who I thought was great in his preseason opener and now is done for the preseason. That's a minute.
Ooh, another injury. Minnesota Vikings lose Adams for season due to a knee injury.
Jamal Adams is out now. What I imagine, I don't want to speculate too much, but they said he's out for the year with a knee injury that sounds like ACL, MCL, PCL, something along those lines. And surely surgery is in the future for Jamal Adams. He is a former Pro Bowler for sure, and I think you're going to be frustrated if you're a Vikings fan that Jamal Adams is out. Veteran of the league, but not a huge production guy at this point. You know, you date back to his early days with the Jets when he jumped onto the scene, then goes to Seattle. Jamal Adams, since 2020, listen to this stat. Since 2020, Jamal Adams has 1 sack. It came last year as a member of the Raiders. Prior to that, like 2020 alone as a Seattle Seahawk, he had 9.5 sacks. Since then, just 1. And since 2021, he has 2 interceptions. Both those came in 2021. It stinks. You're going to lose a veteran who was good 6 years ago, but this isn't going to hamper the Vikings on the field very much. That's a minute.
Here's your next headline. Assistant Colts GM Ed Dodds suggests that they will keep Anthony Richardson for depth.
Yeah, they will. What do you say the assistant Colts GM's name is what?
Ed Dodds.
More like fired. Yeah, their GM Ballard he's got 1 year left on his deal. I imagine after things hit the fan again this year, the Colts will probably offload and just completely redo their front office. I don't mind them keeping Anthony Richardson. That's fine. I don't think you can trade him for much at this point. Daniel Jones is your franchise quarterback. You signed him to a 2-year lucrative deal to be your quarterback. If AR-15 is going to be your backup, whatever. I mean, I think his time. Remember, the Colts took him first round, 4th overall to be their future, and Anthony Richardson has not panned out. He's looked terrible in the preseason. You can keep him on the roster as a lame duck. That's all he's worth. It's a minute.
Here's your next headline. Retired Aaron Donald works out for Rams for a second time.
Minute and 7 seconds, because for tie up the Anthony Richardson, he was drafted 4th overall. In the last 3 years in the National Football League, he's played a combined 17 games. That's bad. Aaron Donald in the last 2 listen to this. Aaron Donald in the last 3 years in the National Football League has also played a combined 17 games. He was retired for 2 of those years. There's your perspective on Anthony Richardson. Yeah, Donald, again, 2 years removed from retirement, said that he was done because he'd accomplished everything he wanted to, 111 career sacks, and now he's coming back. I'm with Pete Souza, ESPN play-by-play. Co-host for a bit there of the Drake Toll Show. I don't know. I'm trying to correctly title Pete Souza. When he was here, he told us, he said, I think Aaron Donald is going to come back after training camp because everyone just hates training camp. It's just practice, and no one really likes practice like that. Donald doesn't need to take the hits, doesn't need to take the contact. Work your way back on your own terms, and if by week 4 of the regular season, Donald has picked up speed, is gaining momentum, that's fine. Those first 3 games aren't as vital. Give him time to acclimate in his own way. Donald will play for the Rams this season. That I am sure of. He will come out of retirement to play for the Rams. The second workout points directly to that once again. And I think he does it after training camp. That's a minute.
Here's your final headline. Dave Roberts, manager of the Dodgers, says struggling Dodgers need to improve on offense and defense.
That's good, Dave. Damn. I've always said, like when Dave's right, Dave's right. And I think if I had to deduce what's going on with the Dodgers, if I had to tell you what's going, like Addie, you can give me some, like you can wax poetic on why they're struggling. I think they just need to do better.
Yeah, I think they're struggling on offense and defense, so I think
Correct.
he was right on the money with that one.
But you're right. That's what they won't tell you that. Most people won't even tell you that. They'll be like, oh, the Dodgers need better, like their rotations banged up. No, that's not, no. Like, it's 7 through 8, 7 through 9 in the lineup's not producing. That's not what no, the offense and defense just need to be better.
Yeah, and it's a mixture. Right now for the Dodgers, it's a mixture of everything going wrong at the same time. Their closer, Edwin Diaz, we have spoken a lot about him and his 11 ERA right now. He's in his head. You have Kyle Tucker, who can't actually hit a baseball at home. The rotation, it's not as banged up as it was, so we can't really use that excuse
Addie,
anymore.
Stop. What you're missing is you're missing the point. The offense and defense just need to be better.
Yes.
I don't know why you're trying to get the details here.
Maybe they're all dealing with trunk injuries, okay?
Mr. Coach said it. Those are your top 5 headlines of the day with the quickie. That is Addie Bates producing. Laura Jimenez runs the board. And that is sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. The NFL's #1 franchise, the biggest name, the biggest mogul in sports, just signed the playmaker who will revolutionize their 2026 seasons. Did the Dallas Cowboys just become Super Bowl contenders? That's up next. It's the Drake Toll Show. Nobody freak out. I was just kidding. The Dallas Cowboys are not going to win the Super Bowl. Unless it is the Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. 310-840-4910. The phone line, the text line is open. Here's the latest on the Dallas Cowboys. You know, we get into this offseason. We get into this offseason grind of the National Football League. And I feel like every radio show or TV show that I turn on, including this radio show, it's just Dallas Cowboys. There's just once a day, every day, something about the Dallas Cowboys. Because they push the needle nationally, and there are Dallas Cowboys fans everywhere. The Cowboys in the 90s were the best branding in the NFL. And to this day, if you're going to buy something vintage from the National Football League, it's probably Dallas Cowboys. And the problem with that is the Cowboys have not just missed expectations the last 3 decades. The Cowboys have been asked the last 3 decades. They've had zero postseason success to show for themselves. And last year, the Cowboys' defense was historically bad. Their passing defense was only better than the Jets. Was only better than the Jets last year. And their rushing defense was the worst in the league. They were last in the NFL by allowing 30 points per game. 30 points and 377 yards per game. Both of those, 32nd in the NFL. They traded Micah Parsons and said, surely this will work. Pass defense surrendered 350 points, 251 yards per game. I don't know what 350. They went 7-9-1. Still won 7. How do you win 7 games? How do you have the worst defense in the National Football League? Defense wins championships and still win 7 games. I'll tell you how. How do you give up 511 points in 17 games and still win 7 of them? I'll tell you how. You have the best offense possibly in the NFL. Now, are the Rams better? Yeah, they're better at offense. Are the Bears, despite me not believing they'll have the greatest offense of all time, were they a really good offense last year? Yeah, absolutely. Were there better offenses than the Cowboys? More tactical for sure. Heck, even the Seahawks offense was so, with Jackson Smith and Jigba, or Kenneth Walker III and Sam Darnold being tactical. But the Cowboys had an incredible offense. You can't argue that. And the league's worst defense. That oil and water mixture led to 7-9-1. So what do? You reload. How do you reload? You sign Von Miller, the first ballot Hall of Famer, and bring him home. Now, he's never played for the Dallas Cowboys, not home in the same sense of Aaron Donald playing for the Rams. That'd be him coming home if he comes out of retirement and is a Ram. And by the way, Donald has now worked out for the second time for the LA Rams. So everything points to the guy who has 111 career sacks being a member of the Rams again. How about the guy who's got 138.5 career sacks? And oh, by the way, last year had 9. That's Von Miller. I want to make the comparison here. You're going to have to lock in for just a second and stick with me. But if you do, there's a payoff to this. The payoff is you can walk into the office today, and when your boys are clowning this move by the Cowboys, saying, he's too old. It won't work. It's silly. When the boys are clowning the move, what you can do is you can push back. You got something to push back. You say, hey, boys, welcome to the water cooler. You're all mad that Von Miller's signing with the Cowboys because he's old? Well, get this. Aaron Donald's 35. Von Miller's 37. You haven't been calling Aaron Donald old. You've been excited about that. So how's Von Miller's just 2 seasons his senior. So how does that work? Like, that's a good point. Like, and by the way, the big reason you love Aaron Donald for the Rams because he knows the Rams, he knows the NFL, he knows culture, he knows. Von Miller grew up in Dallas, dreamed of being a Cowboy, and is one of the best culture players in the National Football League. Von Miller was a staple, a Super Bowl MVP in Denver for the Broncos, and was a staple of the locker room in Buffalo for the Bills. That's a good point, too. For all the reasons that you like Aaron Donald, you should probably also be plenty okay with the Cowboys signing a piece like Von Miller to compete, to play, to be out there. And let me give you this as well. Aaron Donald last year, 0 sacks. And now I know they're different positions, by the way. Going into this argument, they're different positions, and they play differently. Linebacker for Von Miller. On the interior of the defensive line will be Aaron Donald. But Donald, 0 sacks last year. Why? He's on his couch. He's retired. Von Miller in Washington played 17 games. The 36-year-old, a season ago, played 17 games. Had 9 sacks. And now at the age of 37, walks into Dallas with an opportunity to play for a bad defense, a defense that last year was worse than the Commanders. Like, Commanders needed Von Miller. They were so banged up in 2025. They needed Von Miller out there. The Cowboys are going to need Von Miller out there because their defense is bad. Von Miller is an instant impact for the Dallas Cowboys. Does he make them a Super Bowl contender? No, please don't. Don't do that. I'm not going to do that. I won't go there. I won't do that to you. Does he make the Cowboys better? Absolutely. The Dallas Cowboys improved by signing Von Miller. And this was announced last night. It's a one-year deal. The dollar amount has not been disclosed. But Von Miller is coming home to his backyard to play for the Dallas Cowboys. And again, I want to go back to that first question you had. Yeah, but he's old, right? Come on. Von Miller's just 37. Not only does Von have stuff left in the tank, 9 sacks last season, which was 19th in the NFL, not only does he have gas left in the tank on the field, that culture off the field, he believes is what might be the true X factor for him under Jerry Jones' tutelage. Here is Von Miller joining Shannon Sharp's podcast last night to give you perspective on how much he has left to give.
They can say what they want to say. I'm worth, 10 to 13 plays a game. I can win 10 to 13 plays a game, and that's with me not even stepping on the football field. Right. It's just the type of knowledge of the game that I know, and to be able to get the guys to play around me to a level that they wouldn't normally play at. And that has nothing to do with the type of skill that I can bring on the football field.
So if you're telling me, Von Miller, you can give me 10 to 13 plays off the field as a culture guy, hey, just trust me, guys. I can help be a coach. I can be a coach who's on the roster. If he could give me 10 to 13 impact plays on the field, is that a game changer? Is that a season maker? Is that a guy who makes you contend? Because they had Von Miller, the Cowboys were able to contend in the postseason. Is that how that works? Addie Bates, producer of the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. If Von Miller can walk into Dallas and give the Cowboys 10 to 13 plays on the field of productivity, is that worth it?
Absolutely. It's a low risk and a high reward. What's going to happen? It's a one-year deal, right? We're not signing them to some max contract. And you know what? And if he can get a couple extra plays in there, then yeah, help that Cowboys defense. We said this a million times. Their defense was so bad last year. Anything will help. So it's low risk, high reward for the Dallas Cowboys, who are actually spending more money this offseason than I thought they would.
310-840-4910. Jerry's been clear. He wants to bolster the defense. 310-840-4910. And he has gone on to do so, signing guys like Von Miller and even rumored to be in the conversation for a Max Crosby. Cowboys could still be a trade away from contention, genuine contention in the National Football League. You told me. Everybody said it. We've had calls all the last 3 weeks, 310-840-4910, that Jerry's going to die soon. And if the Cowboys need to win before Jerry dies, he's going to do everything he can to win. Wow, the mortality of a man could save the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, interesting. This team doesn't really need saving. The Buffalo Bills. I know myself. And I buy stock in preseason games. I watch preseason games like they are week 4 of the National Football League slate, and my life depends on it. Like these teams, their franchises depend on it. I think you can win the Super Bowl in the preseason. Maybe that's me. My biggest winner this weekend was Josh Allen. My biggest winner the biggest loser of the weekend was the fans at Highmark Stadium that have to put up with the Bills having a complex that half the seats you can't see from because there's glass in the way or bars in the way. But my biggest winner this weekend is Josh Allen. And I don't think I'm overreacting. The biggest winner is the Bills. That's what I'm buying into. Josh Allen was just as sharp. See, and what the Bills could have done with Josh Allen, what Joe Brady, their new head coach, could have done with Josh Allen, and says, hey, we know who Josh Allen is. It's the preseason. I don't give a rat's ass about playing Josh Allen. But not only did he play, he threw the ball around the yard. 6 for 8, 111 yards, and a touchdown in the preseason against the Carolina Panthers on Saturday. Here's Allen hitting Keon Coleman for a score.
Behind Allen. Allen rolling right, pump fakes. Good pressure again by the Panthers. Allen keeping the play alive, and he's got Keon Coleman for a touchdown.
the first touchdown at Highmark Stadium.
I think on Friday, I said the words, Addy, good point. You're right. Somehow that has not been clipped yet. We didn't put that into the drops. I'm surprised that has not been brought up again today.
You actually said, Addy, you're right.
Okay. Good to know you got the quote logged into the psyche. Good to know you got the direct quote logged into the psyche. I want to go back to that because I thought you were a little off the mark in how you were viewing Josh Allen in the preseason. Almost this like, I need to see Josh Allen's energy. I need to see Josh Allen. I need to see Josh Allen under Joe Brady's a Buffalo Bill. And I need to see him be effective to believe in the Bills next season. And I was thinking, I love the preseason, but do I need that? And then I watched Josh Allen and the Bills, and I thought, you know what? You were spot on seeing Josh Allen, 6 for 8, 111 yards and a touchdown, maybe believe like, oh, damn, the Bills are just as legit as they are supposed to be, and the energy of Josh Allen is truly a preseason defining mark for this franchise.
Whenever you are Josh Allen, every season people are, oh, he's going to be an MVP, he's going to be this, and he has done that, but he hasn't done the big thing, which is win a Super Bowl. And so I just need him to go out there, and he did. He went out there, there was a fire lit under his ass, new head coach, and he looked good. And that is what I needed. That is the start for the season. And there are other teams who also desperately needed that. The Browns needed that. The Falcons needed that, and they did not get that. And that's why we're talking about them like, oh my gosh, what the hell are we watching? Josh Allen, that was the outing that he needed, especially with the fans angry at everything else in the world. At least their quarterback, had a good outing. I guess it's preseason. You can call and be like, there's not much stake in it. But when you're Josh Allen and you finished last season pretty rough, like that's what you need to come back.
Yeah, and if there's stake in it for the veterans, there's certainly stake in it for the rookies. Rookie-wise, overreaction-wise, deducing the thoughts of the preseason for the weekend. Ty Simpson for the LA Rams, 21 of 25, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns, a 125 passer rating, 0 sacks taken. Did you hear those stats? 21 of 25, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, a 125 passer rating, and no sacks taken. Now, is that good? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Is the future in LA? Is it now? Does everybody agree that the Rams drafting Ty Simpson 13th overall, despite still having Matthew Stafford, do we all agree it was a good idea? That's probably a bit of an overreaction. But he looked damn good. And there's some context here. His average depth of target was 4.5 yards downfield. That would have been last in the NFL last season. Throws over 10 yards, 25%. Would have been last in the NFL last season. Throws over 20 yards, 0. But I don't think it's a bad thing that you eased in Ty Simpson in the preseason, and my goodness, did he take advantage of that. Overreaction, I think maybe it's a hair, but I do think that Ty Simpson could be the future for the LA Rams. And it's definitely not an overreaction that both the Bears, who lost 34-10, the Browns, I should say, who lost 34-10 at the hands of the Bears. The Browns are terrible, and the Falcons, who got booed off their own field in the preseason after losing 27-7. And Tua Tagovailoa once again was just terrible. Shocking, I know. Tua 3 for 5, 22 yards in his limited time. Cooper Rush 7 for 19, 62 yards and 2 picks. Just terrible for the Falcons this weekend. It's not an overreaction. The Browns and the Falcons are hot trash. Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. I'm so excited. I've been counting it down until 7:40 Eastern time because finally I can do it. I can do it. I told you earlier that Jackson Dart might be the dumbest quarterback alive. And then I found one who might be even dumber. That's up next. Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. This is the Drake Toll Show.
And I remember there was a radio coming from the room next door. My mother mother laughed the way some ladies do. When it's late in the evening and the music seeping through, the next thing I remember, I'm walking down the street. I'm feeling all right with my boys and with my troops, yeah. And down along the avenue, some guys were shooting pool, and I heard the sound of a cappella groups, yeah. Singing late in the evening, and all the girls out on the stoops, yeah. Then I learned to play some lead guitar. I was underage in this funky bar, and I stepped outside and smoked myself a J. And when I come back to the room, everybody just seemed to move, and I turned my amp up loud and I began to play. And it was late in the evening, and I blew that room away. First thing I remember when you came into my life, I said I'm gonna get that girl no matter what I do. Well, I guess I've been in love before, and once or twice I've been on the floor, but I never loved no one the way that I love you. And it was late in the evening, and all the music seeping through. First thing I remember, I was lying in my bed. I couldn't have been no more than one or two. And I remember there was a radio coming from the room next door. My mother laughed the way some ladies do. When it's late in the evening,
Jackson Dart was at the top of my list for just quarterbacks who we should keep away from the Wonderlic test. quarterbacks who their ACT score probably doesn't matter for the context of them playing football. Yeah, remember the C.J. Stroud thing? I think his might have been the Wonderlic that when C.J. Stroud was coming out of Ohio State, there were franchises that reportedly wanted to stay away from him because they thought he was too dumb. They thought like his IQ was too low. He wasn't smart. He wasn't doing well on these tests. So like we can't draft C.J. Stroud. And then he had a great rookie campaign. And I was like, all right, well, turns out you can play in the NFL. You don't have to you don't have to have a great ACT score. Hello, Derrick Rose. And I believe this based on what Jackson Dart had told me about him getting hit this weekend in a preseason game where a Vikings defender comes around the left side, and just boom, mows through Jackson Dart's chest, slams him into the ground, and then Dart gets the podium post game. And you know what? We have 5. I got 5 on it, which put that number in your back pocket, by the way. Here is Jackson Dart being very confused about having to go into the concussion tent after getting hit very hard. Dart would go on to say he was very puzzled, which it makes
I really
sense.
Respect the rules and the thought behind, NFL has of keeping players healthy and reviewing things, but at the same time, I'm still puzzled by it just feeling like every time that I get hit, I just find my way in there, which at times I still try to wrap my head around, but that's all that I'm going to say about that situation. I'm really happy with how the drive ended.
Guy gets hit 25 miles an hour, defender's flying into his chest, slams him into the ground, and then we have to all right, well, put him in the blue tent. And what the NFL is trying to do is what his offensive line won't do, is protect him. You would be puzzled. You would be confused. You had to go in the tent because your concussion city population, Jackson Dart, with the way this guy gets hit. So I'm like, all right, this guy should be our idiot of the day today. But no, I had to backtrack because we have added glory to last week's candidate, who's still today. He's made it through the weekend and he is still taking this title. He still wears the crown. It's time for our idiot of the day.
Idiot of the day.
And his name is Jaden Daniels. I told you, I got 5 on it. Well, sorry. I got 4 on it. Got to pivot here a little bit. Want to go to 5 below? No, sir. It's $4.99 below now. This was the greatest weekend in baseball Twitter history as it pertains to Major League Baseball teams taking full advantage of Jaden Daniels, who, here's your context, played at LSU, wore the number 5, and won the Heisman Trophy. LSU gave the number 5 to a sophomore cornerback this year, and Daniels and his camp were so perturbed by this. Hey, yo, someone gets to wear my number? Someone gets to be number 5? That's not going to fly for me. He was so perturbed, he sent a cease and desist to LSU, saying that you no longer have permission to use my name, image, likeness. LSU, don't have Jaden Daniels in your hallways. This obviously created a firestorm for the media. Matt Moscona reported Daniels had asked for his Heisman Trophy back. There are 2 trophies. One's given to the kid, one's given to the school. Daniels just wants both in his living room now. He doesn't want LSU to have his Heisman Trophy. That's so insane because they gave another kid the number 5 after Jaden Daniels went 9-4 and won the Cheez-Its Bowl. So this weekend, Major League Baseball, out of respect to Jaden Daniels, wanted to ensure that they did not have too many number 5s involved as to not get cease and desists. Starting with the New York Mets, who won 4-1 against the Washington Nationals and tweeted out, "We stopped at 4 out of respect for Jaden Daniels." Cleveland Guardians, they win 6-1 over the San Diego Padres, tweeting, "We won by 5 because we're not scared of Jaden Daniels." Blue Jays win against the New York Yankees. Scored 4. We honored Jaden Daniels. That's our number 5. Orioles hit a 2-run home run when they had 4 runs on the board. And that 2-run home run, obviously, gives you go from 4 to 6. Orioles tweet, we went from 4 to 6 runs out of respect for Jaden Daniels. Even better this weekend in Los Angeles. I loved this out of the Angels. They had Gene Simmons throw out a first pitch. Gene went rogue and threw out a second pitch, a third pitch, and a fourth pitch. No one really knows why. Gene Simmons was like, nope, wasn't good enough. Ball. And the Angels said, we asked Gene Simmons. He said he wanted to throw out a 5th pitch. We said no. That's our respect for Jaden Daniels. And finally, the Philadelphia Phillies scored 5 runs in the 5th inning against the Minnesota Twins. And after a Bryson Stott home run, said Bryson Stott will not cease nor desist. It was one of the all-time weekends on Twitter, thanks to Jaden Daniels. I got 4 on it. If you want to keep it music, Whiskey Riff says Alan Jackson has changed the name of his song to It's 4 O'Clock Somewhere. Out of respect for Jaden Daniels. $4 foot long. It was a really strong weekend on social media. It is the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Our idiots of the day. Jaden Daniels is the first one. And you know what? You can keep Jackson Dart in there for not wanting to go in the concussion tent after possibly being concussed. Well, let's in the realm of quarterbacks, send you to the Browns QB room. Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel. 3 more idiots of the day on the program today after whatever that was this weekend. I was sitting on the bus. I was with the party animals out in Salt Lake, and Caden Green, former legendary Auburn baseball player, is with the organization. He's a Bears fan. It's like, why the hell are you a Bears fan? Kid grew up in Oklahoma. And he's like, well, 5 years ago, I didn't have an NFL team, so I spun a wheel. I need an NFL team. It's like, I picked the Bears, who are terrible. It's like, yeah, that's fair. I can be a Bears fan. So now he's forced himself in 5 years to be a diehard Bears guy. Brutal existence. But he watched every down of the preseason game. That's how diehard he is now. He watched every down of the preseason game, which I respect. A 34-10 Bears win over the Browns in Chicago. 34-10. And the Bears dominated with Tyson Bagent and Case Keenum at quarterback. Let's take you to Cleveland, where Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, and Dylan Gabriel were bad. Deshaun was the king of the pile of crap. 11 for 15, 126 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, was sacked once. And the 4 passes that fell incomplete were embarrassing, just missing targets everywhere. The 11 he did complete, none of them were more than 10 yards downfield. 0%. Shedeur Sanders was 6 for 11, 79 yards, and an interception. Shedeur, he had this to say. If we can go back to that, he spoke at the podium after he threw his interception this weekend about the pick. Little number 2 action here from Shedeur on his pick. Shedeur's interception, he would go on to say, was one that he felt like he made the right read. Well, yep, Shedeur, the guy that you threw to, was wide open downfield, but overthrew the receiver because the ball, quote, slipped. He kept saying, it slipped. It just slipped. How many times have you heard a franchise quarterback? Let's take any franchise quarterback, for example, Trevor Lawrence or Justin Herbert. Get to the podium like, yeah, man, I had the perfect read. Man, I'm really good at knowing exactly where to throw the football. It just slipped. Oh, and don't forget, Dylan Gabriel exists. 62% completion percentage, 23 yards, and an interception on 2.9 yards per attempt. Thank you for trying, Dylan. Our idiots of the day, the Cleveland Browns quarterback room. Those are your idiots of the day. It's Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Addie Bates produces. Laura Jimenez runs the board. When we return, this player, this Hall of Famer, has been added to the Dallas Cowboys. Does he make them a Super Bowl contender? We'll ask the NFL legend Ryan Dunleavy. Again, Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app on the Drake Toll Show.
This is Westwood One Sports.
The Dallas Cowboys, in the middle of the night last night, signed Von Miller. He'll be a first-ballot Hall of Famer, a guy with 138.5 career sacks, and now he's a member of the Dallas Cowboys. For the worst defense in the NFC last year, for the worst defense in the NFL last year, the Dallas Cowboys add a new piece. Does that change the framework of how the boys will operate? Does it change the framework in the NFC East with the Cowboys being a possible contender? I'd love to know. But I'd love to know more specifically, if we're talking contenders in the NFC East, if guys like Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo have brought that to the New York Giants. And there may not be a better man to answer that question than Ryan Dunleavy of the New York Post, joining the Drake Toll Show on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Ryan, appreciate your time up early with us this morning. And look, I'm excited to talk a ton of Giants here, but in the context of the Giants' Week 1 opponent, the Dallas Cowboys, signing Von Miller, if you are the Giants, if you're the Eagles, is this a signing that you say, oh, shoot, the Cowboys just got a lot better? Or is this another Sunday night news dump?
Yeah, no, somewhere in between, right? Like, he's still a good player. I think he had 9 sacks last year. So, like, he's a good player. It's not 2018 where he's a MVP candidate that, shakes up the division. But he's a good player on a team that their weakness is defense, and they're more specifically, since they addressed the secondary earlier in the offseason, they needed another pass rusher. They got one. So, yeah, I mean, he gets your attention, but I don't think it shakes. I wouldn't change my NFC East standings.
Yeah. Ryan, the Giants took the spotlight on Twitter this weekend with Jackson Dart. He gets planted on a sack, goes to the blue tent, and then comes to the podium after. And it's the number one thing you don't want a guy who went to concussion protocol to say is that he was puzzled. It's just a bad line to give us to say, I was puzzled. It's like, yes, that's why you went to the blue tent. For Dart. And really I think the NFL was trying to protect him with the blue tent, whereas offensive line is not doing a great job of that. Is this shades of what is to come again, an offensive line that just cannot keep Jackson Dart safe?
Well, that play yesterday, or 2 days ago now, was actually on the running back. Like, that's a play where the running back's supposed to pick up the blitzer. He took a step in the wrong direction. He said he thought he heard a different call. Regardless, I mean, the protection has to be better. Like, that's what Harbaugh said. That's very clear. Like, you have to keep him safe. This was not a case of Dart not protecting himself, scrambling, not going down, initiating conduct, all the things that were the case of his rookie year that they're trying to coach out of him right now. This was this was a football play. When he says he's puzzled, he keeps going to the tent. I mean, he's been in the blue medical tent 6 times in, I think it's 16 career games. So that's an absurd amount. Look, there's a little bit of he's getting labeled, and like that it is. Until you prove that you cannot go to the medical tent, referees are not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, they're going to be like, oh, Dart's down, he's got to go to the medical tent. Like, it's just human nature. He's been labeled as a guy who takes big hits and needs to get checked for concussions, and referees are going to err on the side of caution. So that's what's going to happen to him. It's not that puzzling. Like, you've been labeled. So he needs to do a better job. The offensive line needs to do a better job. But that one, I think, is a little bit different than when he launched himself at the Eagles last year, or when he refused to slide against the Bears. This was just, they missed a block and he got folded. He basically got folded in half.
Yeah. I liked the way, and by the way, for our listeners across the country, Ryan Dunleavy, New York Post, joins the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. I like the way that Singletary looked this weekend. And I for Devin Singletary out of the backfield, I am maybe the most guilty of believing in preseason too much, of getting too excited about the preseason. But when I see shades of, Devin Singletary outperform maybe my expectations, it makes me start to believe something. I feel a little bubble in my stomach. It might be IBS. It might be Devin Singletary being good. Is that the biggest surprise, maybe the biggest win of the weekend for the Giants?
It's funny. People ask me before the start of training camp, like, who could be the surprise cut? And I always pick Devin Singletary because he's a veteran on the third. He's a veteran third on the running back depth chart, right? but I don't think it's him anymore. I think he's had a really good camp, both as a receiver and he can pass protect. And we just went through how Tyrone Tracy missed the block. That's like a death sentence in John Harbaugh's world. Like, you need to be able to pass protect as a third down running back. So I think Singletary could actually steal some passing down reps. So, yeah, I think that's positive for the Giants. I mean, the biggest thing to come out of the weekend for the Giants by far probably was Malachi Fields making the touchdown. So Dirk comes back in the game for the national audience who doesn't know. He re-entered a preseason game, which almost never happens, after he cleared the blue tent, come back in and threw what Jackson Dart does, a playground-style touchdown pass. And Malachi Fields just used his 6'4" body, rookie third-round pick out of Notre Dame, used his 6'4" body to just reach over a linebacker and make a touchdown catch. And then later in the game, he ran a traditional slant route to convert a 3rd and 5 and set up a field goal. So to show he's not just, winning jump balls, he's got a full route. That's the biggest thing, because the Giants are Malik Neighbors and a bunch of guys you've heard of and don't know if they have anything left at receiver. Darnell Mooney, Juju Smith-Schuster, Odell Beckham Jr., et cetera, Braxton Berrios. If Malachi Fields is a young number 2 receiver with Malik Neighbors, you got something.
I'm glad you brought up the name Odell Beckham Jr. because that was something we spent a good portion of time on. The storyline of Odell being back in New York being this nostalgia, this piece of, wow, could this be, kind of that surprise veteran for the Giants who becomes a locker room leader? And now there are talks and conversations that Odell might not make the roster, to the point that I thought last week, man, at what point do you retire? At what point do you need to fight this battle? You can just hang it up on your own terms. Are there strong odds that Odell is not with the Giants week 1 of the regular season?
I would put it right now at probably 60-40 that he is. But so I'm with you. When he signed, I thought nostalgia, full circle, wants to get one more ovation, then he'll get cut. Then camp started, and I'm like, you know what? I was wrong. This guy has some juice left. Like, he can still get open. He's still got quick feet. He's practiced every day, which I wasn't sure his body would be able to handle after a year off. So, I think he can still play in the NFL. He's in a tough spot with the Giants because they have 4 guys locked into the roster because of draft status or contracts. Darius Slayton, Neighbors, Malachi Fields, and Mooney are pretty much all on the roster. He's been outplayed by Calvin Austin, so that's 5. So wide receiver 6 usually has to play special teams in the NFL. That's not going to be Odell Beckham. So, do you keep him as a 6th receiver? He can still play. So do you keep him as a 6th receiver? And then do you try to tinker with the practice squad where you have Beckham as 6 and then you have some wide receivers you could call up from the practice squad to play special teams? You could do that, I guess. It's kind of a tough spot, but I would say the story is more than this. That if he wants to play somewhere in the NFL, he can. I think he just wants to play for the Giants because of the full circle, because this is where he started his career, because of the fan adoration. But, if the Cardinals need a receiver, Odell Beckham could play for them. I just don't know if he wants to.
Ryan Dunleavy joining the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Ryan, I'm going to lose my bonus this week for bringing up names like Odell Beckham Jr. and Devin Singletary before Cam Scatterbill. I just, again, I love the preseason that much. I avoid the stars in the preseason, and I want to talk about the guy who catches one pass for 40 yards and old man Odell Beckham. Cam Scatterbill coming back from the broken leg, and obviously limited in the first preseason game. You don't want to give him too much of the workload, but for you, seeing him in training camp, what is the status of Cam Scatterbill as far as him meeting the same expectations that he exceeded last season? Will we see the version of Cam Scatterbill we got in the first half of 2025?
Yeah, he looks healthy. I'm not concerned about that. He looked healthy in the preseason game. He looked healthy. He's looked healthy in training camp. He still runs like a battering ram, even though he's 5'9" or whatever. Yeah. He still has that same running style. He still screams woohoo when he's on the field. So, the same, maniac on the field. But I don't know how good he really. He had 500 rushing yards, and he's the first one to tell you this. He's famous already, but he didn't do a ton because he got injured, right? He had, I think, one 100-yard rushing game, 3 touchdowns on Monday Night Football against the Eagles. He was just coming into his own when he got hurt. So, like, we don't know. Is he a 1,500-yard running back in the NFL? I really don't know. So, but he looks healthy, and he's the Giants starter in a 60-40, probably 65-35 timeshare right now with their own Tracy. Could he get more of those carries? Maybe. But he's definitely the starter, and Tracy's coming off back-to-back 1,000-yard from scrimmage season, so he's no slouch. So Scadaboo's seems to have won that job, so that's a step in the right direction.
He's Ryan Dunleavy of the New York Post, joining the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Ryan, this is the last thing I got for you, and this could be the stupidest question of all time. I'm prefacing this. I'm giving you that I believe it might be. But as I look at a
pretty stupid one,
as I look at a John Harbaugh or a Matt Nagy, the coaching staff here, this new regime in New York, right? What the first thing I think of is a buddy of mine who grew up in Jersey City, who loves the Knicks. Like, to this day, August 17th, he woke up this morning in a Knicks hat, right? It's all he can talk about is the New York Knicks, the Knicks winning the NBA title, and Mike Brown. That's the story. As it pertains to this coaching staff, this regime, the reception of the city of New York to the New York Giants and John Harbaugh as the head coach, is this city still so dominated by this Knicks run, that storyline, that it gives some sort of reprieve, some sort of runway for what Harbaugh is doing? Or are there already spotlights on whether or not the Giants can exceed expectations in the NFC East?
No, I think it's turning right now. You're right in that the Knicks championship run dominated, the whole NBA postseason over the Yankees, and into probably right about now. And people are so disgusted with the Yankees lineup and the Mets record that football has picked up. Usually football doesn't even really pick up here until the regular season. Football has picked up now because baseball teams are so repetitive. Yes, I think Harbaugh's in the spotlight right now. I think this franchise is so desperate for a turnaround. They obviously are paying him a ridiculous amount of money. I think it's $20 million a year. So, yes, there's a lot of expectation. Giants fans are woken up. There's a lot of expectations on Harbaugh. The team has a lot of talent, too. Like, they're not your typical 3-14 team or 4-13 team. So the bar has the bar has been raised in that regard. People are talking about them winning the NFC East or going to the playoffs. I don't think that's realistic right now. I think they're an in the hunt team, to use the graphic we all talk about in December. I think they're 6-8 to enter December, 7-9, whatever it is. Like, and then they're respectable, and the Giants haven't been that in a really long time. That's Harbaugh. The coaching staff, Giants fans are already worried about Matt Nagy. They're already like, I don't know about this offense. I don't know about this offense. So Denard Wilson, the defensive coordinator, they're all in on, and Giants fans obviously, from LT to Strahan to years and years and years of great defense. That's what they really care about, and they're all in on the defensive coordinator. Matt Nagy's offense is going to have to score points, or the Giants fans that's going to be target number one on this coaching staff.
He is an NFL insider for the New York Post. Ryan Dunleavy on the Drake Toll Show, at Rye Dunleavy on Twitter. Again, Rye Dunleavy. Give him a follow and keep up with Jackson Dart, Cam Scadaboo, and the $20 million man, John Harbaugh. Ryan, appreciate your time early this morning and the perspective on the Giants. We'll see you in February when they're in the Super Bowl.
Yep, exactly. That's what they all think. Thanks for having me. Anytime.
Absolutely. The New York Giants are not your typical 3-4 team. With Cam Scadaboo back and Jackson Dart's upside, the Giants could be a surprise team in the NFC East, by the way. Remember when this is still open. The NFC East is open for you. The NFC least. The Washington Commanders were not good last year. Banged up. This season, their defense has question marks. Their quarterback's Jaden Daniels. He's asking more questions about his college jersey number than he is about the offense, the Washington Commanders. The Dallas Cowboys had a historically bad defense, the worst defense in the National Football League a season ago. The Philadelphia Eagles, unrest. Believe it or not, there are Philadelphia Eagles fans that want Nick Sirianni, their head coach, fired. That is, any given year as it pertains to Eagles fans and Nick Sirianni, but still, it holds true. Some of them want him fired. And then there are the New York Giants. The New York Giants. John Harbaugh in his first year as head coach. who have the door open in a division that has the door open to compete. Appreciate Ryan's time and perspective. Jackson Dart, John Harbaugh and company could do just that, surprise the NFL in 2026. One team that I don't think will surprise the NFL, but maybe my mind can be changed, is the Cleveland Browns. We joined the Cleveland Browns insider, Mary Kay Cabot, on the other side to tell us if Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders, who should you draft in fantasy? Hopefully neither. But if Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders will be the starter week 1 in Cleveland. Let's get the inside scoop next. It's Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. This is the Drake Toll Show.
Hey lady, got the love I need. Baby, more than enough. Oh, darling, 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 walk a while with me. Oh, you got so much, so much, so much.
Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders at starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns? Well, if you watch the preseason game on Saturday, I think the takeaway would be you got to choose one, right? The takeaway would be you're going to go with Deshaun Watson. But Shedeur Sanders is the young guy. What about the upside? What about the ceiling? There's the push and the pull on both sides. And if there's one insider who's gotten to see the push, the pull, all of it inside of training camp and now the preseason, it's Mary Kay Cabot, who's been on top of this quarterback battle for the Cleveland Browns and now graciously joins the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Mary Kay Cabot from Cleveland.com. Again, thank you at the time up early this morning. And in this quarterback competition, after what you've seen in training camp and what you saw on Saturday, who has the edge?
Well, I would say right now that Deshaun Watson has the edge. I think he went out there against the Bears in the first half, and I think he really showed Todd Monken some things that he needed to see. Todd needed to see, first of all, that he could handle the contact after not playing for 2 years. He needed to see that he was confident, that he was accurate, that he was having fun. And Deshaun showed him all those things to the point where Todd Monken, I think, was almost relieved that he feels that he has a quarterback who can go out and start that opener in the event that he needs him to. However, having said that, this is a very big week for Shedeur Sanders, a very big week. They have the joint practice with the Bills on Thursday, and then they have the game on Saturday, and this is Shedeur's opportunity to go out there and sort of plant his flag and show that he deserves to be the guy.
You know, the on-field is a lot of what we get to see as the general viewer across the country. The off-field, I look at guys like a Brock Purdy, who has stepped up as a leader for the 49ers even in his youth, or a Dak Prescott in Dallas, who's become kind of the heartbeat of the way the locker room goes. From a leadership standpoint, what you get to see off the field and around training camp, is it Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders that have taken the reign of this franchise?
Well, I think right now, Deshaun Watson still has the edge in that because he has such a handle and a grasp on this Todd Monken offense. It's very similar to what he ran under Bill O'Brien in Houston when he made 3 Pro Bowls. And he just kind of has a command at the line of scrimmage. And I think that, players really see that and understand that, while Shedeur is coming up the learning curve very, very quickly. And the Browns have been very, very impressed with his ability to operate at the line. But here's the thing. I mean, Deshaun is very, very well versed in this sort of QB control kind of offense. And so right now I think he has the edge in that regard. But remember, Shedeur is a gamer. He's a competitor. Yeah. And you can't count him out of any of this yet because he really is coming along very, very quickly. It's just that, he doesn't have the kind of experience that Deshaun has yet.
Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com joining the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. This is a question. So I've covered the Big 12 conference closely before this for 5 years and kind of in the pocket of Shedeur Sanders. And we would always ask this kind of silly question of if his name was Shedeur Smith, right? Is he this? Do we have this storyline around him being one of the great quarterbacks in college football and in the middle of the competition in the NFL? The shadow of his last name, is that something that helps or hurts Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland?
I think it helps him in a lot of respects, and in some respects it might hurt him. But for the most part, it does, it brings an energy. It brings content. Yeah. It brings excitement. I mean, fans love him, and it's going to be really interesting to see how this goes on Saturday at Huntington Bank Field, because I think this is another flashpoint in this competition. Fans love Shedeur. You're going to see those wrists up everywhere. You're going to have signs. You're going to have people calling for him, clamoring for him. It's a phenomenon. It really is. He is almost a larger than life entity at times. And then you've got Deshaun, who is still sort of the villain until he goes out and proves on the field that he can still be a quality starting quarterback. So we'll have to see how this is going to go, because one of the things that Deshaun has got to do on Saturday is prove that he's mentally tough enough to handle what's about to hit him on Saturday. And that would be probably some boos at the stadium and plenty of cheers and calls for Shedeur.
It's such that perspective. And I'm so glad that you hit on the popularity of Shedeur off the field, because I think the most popular guy in almost every franchise is the backup quarterback. Everybody loves the backup quarterback because it's this fresh new taste of something different than what the stale veteran is or what Deshaun Watson might be. And I think it even works in the coaching side, where half the league, half the fan bases in the league next season, their most popular guy in their market will be the quality control coach for the Chargers. Because, he's this great up-and-comer. He can be a great head football coach in the NFL. And that's where everybody points the spotlight to fire our guy and hire some guy I've never heard of until this reporter said he's a great offensive play caller. For Todd Monken, 60 years old, stepping in as the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, Is the air in Cleveland that the old dog has the tricks enough to make the Cleveland Browns contenders, or are Cleveland fans just already expecting, hey, Monken's here for a couple of years, then out the door?
Well, no, I don't think it's Monken's here for a couple of years and then he's out the door. He's got a 5-year contract, and it's a big, lucrative contract. He's making $10 million a year. So this is not a situation where it's going to be two and done or anything like that. But I do think that Todd has a sense of urgency to win now. Yeah. This is not a season. This is not at all about, hey, let's see what Shedeur can do for the future, and let's see what might happen in terms of the draft for 2027. They all want to win now, and that's what this is about. And they will choose the quarterback based on who absolutely gives them the best chance to win. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances here, because you do have a quarterback who is not well-liked in Cleveland for the most part in Deshaun Watson. But one thing that might work in his favor if he wins the starting job early on is the fact that the first 2 of their games are on the road in Jacksonville and Tampa, and then 6 of their first 9 are on the road. So he will, for all intents and purposes, have a less hostile crowd on the road probably, and that could serve them well in the beginning of the season when they only have 3 home games. But he's going to have to play well in those first 2 if he wants to come home and have the fan support.
Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com joining the Drake Toll Show on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. From the offense to the defense, and there is a Myles Garrett-sized hole when a guy like that, a star like that, leaves a franchise, leaves a city, leaves a defense. For Cleveland on the defensive side of the ball, which we haven't got to talk a lot about on this show, and the storylines have obviously carried through the quarterback competition, but defensively, I'll leave it broad for you. How do the Cleveland Browns stack up through training camp?
Well, I really think that this defense has something to prove. They are out to show that they were not the Myles Garrett show. I think collectively it has a chip on its shoulder. And then you bring in Jared Verse. He's a dynamo. He has a ton of energy. He's a beast out there in practice. Now, he doesn't, of course, have the sack production that Myles Garrett had, but he does bring something that I think is going to really help the defense this year, and that is he's sort of a force multiplier. He brings guys together. He's definitely somebody where you can see guys hanging out at his house. You can see them pulling together as a group and being more unified than they were before. And they will also seek to spread the wealth. Other guys will have a chance to shine. It was really a lot about making sure that Myles was getting his production. Myles was happy, and they don't have to worry about that anymore. Now they can go out there and be more of a team, and that's what I think this defense is going to be all about. And then they added a few guys in like Quincy Williams, the linebacker who brings a lot of energy, and now they're trying to sign Zadarius Smith. That could happen as early as today. I thought it might happen yesterday, but I think that will happen by today. And so I do think that I think they will have something to them. They've got a new defensive coordinator, but he brings a lot of energy, and they're keeping the scheme largely the same. So I think it will be a seamless transition.
Mary Kay Cabot joining the Drake Toll Show. Mary Kay, I thank you so much for your time this morning. Last thing I got for you, and I don't always understand how we create strength of schedule metrics preseason that are, our schedule's so easy. No one's played a game yet. But if you ask these metrics in the sky, the Cleveland Browns have the 6th easiest schedule in the National Football League. Again, I don't put a ton of stock into that, but we've somehow created this out of an algorithm that I will never understand. If you are a Browns fan, if you're in that market, as far as the pulse of the city goes, what is the true expectation for the 2026 iteration of the Cleveland Browns?
Well, when we talked to Browns owner Jimmy Haslam in training camp, he's betting the over on the 5.5. So we'll see how it goes. It all comes down to the quarterback. If Deshaun Watson can be even close to the quarterback that he was in Houston, then there is a world in which I think they can get to maybe 8 victories, maybe flirt with 9 and keep in the conversation for the playoffs into December. But it's all going to come down to some really good quarterback play and a brand new offense that needs to come together.
Mary Kay, again, appreciate your time early, the perspective. I don't think there is a more knowledgeable insider in Cleveland, and I don't know what it is, the stronghold you have on my Twitter For You page, but every time I scroll through, there's like 4 or 5 of your tweets in there. It is the way you keep up with this franchise is the litmus for how reporters should handle the NFL and their markets. Incredible to have you on again.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. Anytime.
Again, you give her a follow at Mary Kay Cabot on Twitter and follow her work at cleveland.com. 5.5 games. Okay, do you want to do it? Should we do this? Let's take you through now that we've gotten the quarterback perspective. And Mary Kay gave you that there is still a window of opportunity for Shedeur. The market probably wants Shedeur. Franchise could use the bump after a 34-10 loss in the preseason. But don't put too much stock. It's still the preseason. Let's take you to the schedule. Jacksonville on the road. That's probably a loss. Tampa on the road. That's a loss. I like Tampa this year. I have Tampa winning the South. I think Baker Mayfield, he's got this kind of it's sad that every year for Baker in the NFL is a prove-it year, but this is a prove-it year for Baker Mayfield. Why? Because I don't know. Nobody respects him as a franchise quarterback. He feels the disrespect. So what is he going to do? He's going to continue to prove it. And I guess if it's a prove-it year for Baker, he plays even better. So I at Tampa, I have the Browns losing that one. Home versus Carolina. More winnable, but I think I have more confidence in Carolina than I do Cleveland. At home versus Pittsburgh. I mean, Mary Kay told you that there is a very good chance if Deshaun Watson's the starter, he's going to have a tougher time playing at home because he's going to get booed relentlessly. You know, the fans, and she didn't say that, but those are my words, that it may be tougher for him to play there, she says, because fans aren't in love with Deshaun Watson. So he might get booed at home. And you go on the road against the Jets, certainly winnable. Baltimore, Todd Monken, the Browns head coach, facing the Ravens. Gosh, that's a Ravens win, right? At Tennessee, you got an opportunity to win there if you're Cleveland. What we've scrounged out we're going into November with the Browns winning 2, maybe 3 games. Then you go on the road, Pittsburgh, on the road, New Orleans. You face a tough Texans team. First half, I think by the time we get to mid-November, and this isn't a big take, it's not a hot take, the Cleveland Browns at that point are looking around saying, okay, well, we know we're not going to make the postseason. We're at 3 or 4 wins. And those 3 or 4 wins might be Carolina, might be the Jets, might be the Titans, might be New Orleans. But is it compete time going into the home stretch, or is it pack it in? That's where, after the bye week, you got to hold on with me. I start to believe again. I start to believe in the Cleveland Browns and that 5.5 win total that owner Jimmy Haslam says we should go over with. And here's why I believe. Is because after the bye week, you get the Raiders, winnable. You get the Bengals. We're in December by now. The Bengals Joe Burrow's probably missed 8 weeks at this point. Get the Bengals, who are having their own issues with Zach Taylor. I think Zach Taylor will be fired, could be very well fired by the time we get to December 6th. Atlanta after that. I think the Falcons might be one of the worst teams in the NFL. Those tickets, by the way, you can buy a ticket right now to the Browns and the Falcons, 1 p.m. game, $23. $23. So now after a bye week for Cleveland, you got Vegas, you got Cincinnati, you got Atlanta, and the New York Giants. Uh-oh. Not to mention you go on the road against Baltimore. That's tough. And you play Indianapolis at home. There are 4 or 5 possible wins alone going into late November and December for the Cleveland Browns. There's a door of opportunity. Again, strength of schedule. There's a door of opportunity, a window of opportunity, a door open for Cleveland to finish with 7 or 8 wins. If Deshaun Watson works out, if Jared Verse in the defense becomes a good, plugs the hole, the hole that you have now losing Myles Garrett, that Myles Garrett-sized shadow. Even if Shedeur, man, I said Deshaun Watson, even if Shedeur decides to be the guy, your strength of schedule favors Cleveland. Do I think they're a contender? No. Will they have to decide after the bye week if they want to win those games or lose those games to help their draft stock? Yeah. But post-bye week, back half of the season, if Cleveland figures out the right stuff, wins the coin flips, wins those coin tosses with the heads or tails games, 50-50 games, what if you should believe in the Cleveland Browns? 310-840-4910. 310-840-4910. Phone lines, text lines still open as we roll into the final segment of today's show before You Better You Bet, followed by Bleck and Abdallah and Jim Rome right here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. You know what? There is a brand new Super Bowl contender based on something that happened 10 hours ago. Butterfly effect, baby. One signing just changed a franchise for the next 6 months and made them a contender. This is Westwood One Sports. It is the Westwood One Sports app. And it's the Drake Toll Show.
a sweet little body and she's rolling in the caddy with me.
The Dallas Cowboys. If you ask the Cowboys fan, will win the Super Bowl. Because last night, I'm going to give you a little personal perspective here. I laid my little head down at around, 8:30, 9 o'clock Eastern time. Early. The sun was still up. But yeah, I was Salt Lake City. I was flying from Salt Lake back to Savannah. There's nothing worse in the world. There's nothing worse in the world than having to fly from the West Coast to the East Coast. It's terrible. It's the worst. And I got home. I was like, I want to go to bed. Sorry, that's the little thing we play when we go to break. The 49ers. Sorry. So I fly over here. It's like, I'm going to go to bed. And then, an hour later, NFL burns down. The Dallas Cowboys, 1-year deal, Von Miller. And what I love about, what would have happened 20 years ago is, so an insider would have broken this. Dan Patrick comes on SportsCenter and says, Von Miller is signing with the Cowboys. The world burns down for a little bit. And you're like, okay, first question, Von Miller, isn't he old? Yeah, he's old. Second question, okay, if he's old, can he compete? Yeah, he can compete. Prove it. 37 years old. But last year, for a hapless Commanders defense, had 9 sacks. Was one of the few bright spots for the Commanders defense that was banged up, injury-riddled, for sure. But Von Miller was good at football at 36 years old, and a year later at 37 can help one of the worst defenses in the NFL. The great thing about, and this is the reason I give the perspective of 20 years ago, Dan Patrick announces it, and we start breaking it down, and you start asking questions. The great thing is, instead of 20 years ago where we wouldn't have heard about this for a few days, we wouldn't have gotten to this for a few days, or gotten the perspective of the player himself, now we have podcasts with guys like Shannon Sharp where we instantly learn the thoughts of the players that revolve around these headlines. And so I start digging as soon as I wake up this morning and find out that, the Dallas Cowboys will be revolutionized by this first ballot Hall of Famer, future first ballot Hall of Famer Von Miller. First thing I do is like, okay, how can let's piece it together. Has Jerry talked about this? Has it been writing on the wall? No, you don't even have to look for that. Because already Von Miller has gone on Shannon Sharp's podcast and revealed why he did this, how this happened, where he wanted. And he immediately answered the question that I have of how much does Von Miller, whether off the field, on the field, as a leader, how much does Von Miller have left in the tank? Here's what Von Miller had to say.
They can say what they want to say. I'm worth, 10 to 13 plays a game. I can win 10 to 13 plays a game, and that's with me not even stepping on the football field. Right. It's just the type of knowledge, the type of knowledge of the game that I know, and to be able to get the guys to play around me to a level that they wouldn't normally play at. And that has nothing to do with the type of, skill that I can bring on the football field.
He's a culture piece. He's a locker room guy. He's going to walk into a locker room that he is familiar with from a geographical standpoint. Heck, he grew up 28 minutes away, went to DeSoto High School. Von Miller is a Texas high school football legend, a Texas A&M legend. He goes to the Broncos in Denver and wins Super Bowl MVP. And now Von Miller has fulfilled this dream of being a Dallas Cowboy and playing for the boys. Now, he will wear the star in what might be his final year in the National Football League, a 1-year deal. But I'm talking about a guy with 138 career sacks. I'm talking about a guy who had 9 sacks last season, who was 19th in the NFL last year in sacks. And if you want to say, well, he's too old, well, he's washed, you're not saying that about Aaron Donald, all right? Aaron Donald's 35, Von Miller's 37. Miller is 2 seasons his senior for sure. But last year, Von Miller had 9 sacks. Aaron Donald had 0. Donald's been retired for 2 years. We don't have a ton of questions about Donald. No, he's a plug-and-play guy. We've had NFL players on this show who've said Donald's the kind of player who can pick it up after 2 years off, not have to do much, and just be great at football. That's who Aaron Donald is. Von Miller, he doesn't need to just, after some time off, pick it up and try his best. No, he's been in the National Football League. Played 17 games in the National Football League last year. Was good in the NFL last year. The year prior for Buffalo, in 13 games, had 6 sacks. Von Miller has still got gas in the tank. And now he's got even more cash in the bank as a Dallas Cowboy that can bolster a defense that no doubt was terrible last year. But this is a move, another piece, another contributor for the Cowboys that can help push them to contender. Do I think the Dallas Cowboys are Super Bowl contenders? Do I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to win it all this year? No. Anybody who's got that take that they will or are or could is just blowing hot air up your skirt to drive more and more Dallas Cowboys pomp and circumstance. Look, we're talking about the Cowboys. Come on, look at these headlines, Cowboys. They're in the middle of the pack if you asked a FanDuel at plus 2,000 to win the Super Bowl this season. And I'm not wasting my money on the Cowboys. But there has been this talk, Jerry's going to die. At some point, Jerry has to die. It's like, what? But yeah, but that's context, right? Is Jerry could die. Jerry's old. Okay, what does that have to do with anything? Well, Jerry said he wants to win the Super Bowl. He wants to win multiple Super Bowls before he dies. So, if Jerry's getting older, surely he's going to start throwing out the chips, put them on the table to win the Super Bowl. And Von Miller's part of that. Bringing in a Von Miller is a piece of that. And now you're a trade for Max Crosby away from the Dallas Cowboys, actually being contenders, actually being a team that I want to bet on to win the Super Bowl, a team that I want to bet on in 2026. The Dallas Cowboys, not just being some headline that national media on the radio or TV uses as a crux to say, we talked about the Cowboys because everybody loves and cares about the Cowboys. They're no longer a crux, and now they're a contender. They were a couple pieces away. And now that they've added Von Miller, the Dallas Cowboys are maybe one defensive piece away. As it sits on August 17th, one defensive piece away from me saying, oh, shoot, the Dallas Cowboys are actually really good and now more balanced for a great offense that needed a defense last year. That's what Von Miller said. Let's take you back to Von Miller, who said, yes, we can contend, and that's why I'm playing in Dallas, is to contend, Von.
And I'm going to have opportunities to do it, though. Like, we got one of the best offenses in the National Football League. I'm going to be able to play with the lead, be able to play, up by 10, up by 13, up by 17 points. I'm going to have those opportunities. We only won 5 games last year with the Commanders. We got hit with injuries and a whole lot of stuff, but we only won 5 games, and I was able to walk into 9 sacks. So,
you told me, you, the listener, that defense wins championships. And I agree. Seahawks proved that last year, right? But, by virtue of that, if we back it up, and based on what Von Miller is telling me here, kind of put it all together in a pot, if defense wins championships, it means defense wins games. Cowboys had the worst defense last year in the NFL. One of the worst in NFL history, like historically bad. They won 7 games. They went 7-9-1. How did they win games with a defense that was Swiss cheese, that had holes everywhere? Historically good offense. Von Miller's saying, hey, we have the offense to win every single game we play. You put me, the culture piece, the competitor, the old guy who's still got gas in the tank, you put me on the field, and now all of a sudden the defense starts to make more sense, and the Cowboys as a whole make more sense. Mark my words here. Cut this. Record this. Play it back in 6 months. The Dallas Cowboys are one more defensive piece away from being a true contender in the NFL. If they bring in a Max Crosby, the Dallas Cowboys will have a genuine shot at Super Bowl contention. Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. This is the Drake Toll Show, and it's time for Music Monday. Addie Bates has compiled 5 seconds of 5 songs. I got to name the song and the artist. Addie, are you ready?
Of course I am. Drake Toll, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here's your first song.
The extra sentimental kind of chemistry.
With me, baby, I'm the fella you came in with. Luck.
This is gonna go really, really bad for me. This is gonna go very, very bad for me. I don't think any of these are real songs. I think you went to ChatGPT and said, create 5 songs that don't exist to make all of them terrible.
What?
Just kidding. That's a joke. All right, song number 1, please. This is a Nirvana cover band from Waco, Texas.
So
I've become so numb.
I even put the title of the song in some of these cuts because I knew you probably wouldn't know them. That was Sober by Tool.
All right, we're making up songs and bands now. Song 2, please. This has like a Rolling Stones.
Yes.
Okay, Rolling Stones mixed with Van Morrison kind of vibe. Rolling Stones. What's the song?
Under My Thumb.
Under My Thumb. Oh, okay, hot. Song 3.
World to you, the missing piece, the extra sentimental kind of chemistry.
Is she dead?
No, the song just came out like within the past year.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Valerie by Amy Winehouse.
Okay, so she's dead. This is Olivia Dean. So Easy to Fall in Love.
Chris. What? Okay, no.
Fontaine's DC Starburster.
None of those were words. That was English next time, please. Number 5.
With me, baby, I'm the fella you came in with. Luck.
Sinatra.
She joins the show every day. Yes, Sinatra. Luck be a lady.
Luck be lady. Night lady luck. That's good. Tim Robinson. Nice. I got 2 artists. 2 out of 10 points. Call me Deshaun Watson. It's 2 out of 10. It's 20%.
It's 1 for 5.
Howdy Bates produces. Laura Jimenez runs the board. It has been, and it always will be. Thanks to Colin Jones, Armor Williams, Bruce Gilbert, Ryan McGuire for giving me a job. Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Coming up, You Better You Bet with Nick Costos. In the meantime, we'll see you tomorrow from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Time. This is The Drake Toll Show.
This